Orvolution had everyone talking after her turf debut opening weekend at Saratoga. Can she follow it up with a stakes score in the PG Johnson? Romantic Babe overcame trouble at the start of her debut effort and still managed to win. She'll now stretch out her talents around 2 turns for trainer David Donk. And now that he's top gun in the NTRA Thoroughbred poll, will Gunrunner be able to deliver with a weight of expectations in Saturday's Woodward? We'll preview his attempt at a second Grade 1 win of the meet this weekend. Welcome to Saratoga Live, presented by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. We continue along here at the final week of this tremendous meet. It has been a sensational summer. We hope you have enjoyed it, and we're working our way to going out with a big final weekend coming up. Greg Wolf alongside racing analyst Gabby Gaudette. Looking forward, obviously, to Gunrunner in the Grade 1 Woodward coming up this weekend. Big news coming out of racing. The sensational 2-time champion Songbird, who we saw here in the personal ensign. She has been retired from racing. We'll have more on that story coming up in just a little bit. And our feature race today, we had the 2-year-old Colts going along on the grass yesterday. Today we get the 2-year-old fillies in the PG Johnson. And first and foremost, just talking about Songbird too, I think we can all say that we've been incredibly lucky to see her brilliance in the flesh. We obviously saw her win the Coaching Club American Oaks in the Alabama last year. Her defeat in the distaff was even brilliant, and then we saw her this year. So yeah, we'll get to that story later on, but heartfelt, our thoughts go out to the connections of Songbird, and of course getting to Orvolution later today in the feature race, the PG Johnson. Well, she not only was impressive last time out, but she's the only horse who's gone this distance on the turf in the race. Yeah, that could go a long way. We'll get to that feature. That's race 9 coming up. You've joined us just in time for the starts of the late pick 4. It begins here in race 7 over the inner turf 1 mile New York bred maiden special weight group. That 8th race, entry-level allowance for New York breds at 1 1/16. Our feature for those 2-year-old fillies coming up in the 9th, and then a wide open 10th race. The scratch of the 4 Bunyan in that race made it a tremendous wagering race. Totally wide open now. It's going to be a great sequence today. Track conditions brought to you by John Deere. Main track fast, turf condition listed as firm. With more on the feature race and a filly who may try and steal it on the front end, let's check in with Maggie Wolfendale.
Greg, you're exactly right. That filly would be Mentality, as she also breaks from the rail. And boy, it's a good thing to save ground, be the speed on this inner turf course, as she is also a New York bred facing open company, but she took them down in her debut. She's also fairly well bred, and she's full sister to a undefeated horse by the name of Lovely Sin. But Lovely Sin was a stakes winner on the main track sprinting. She'll try to stretch it out here today. As you look at her maiden breaking score, she did get a little bit leg weary towards the latter stages of that 6 furlong contest, but she was wearing blinkers that day. The blinkers do come off. Now, 2 weeks ago, when we had the turf sprints, the Bolton Landing, she was a scratch from that, as Wesley opted to run Fairyland in that. But Mentality was entered 2 days later against the boys in the Skidmore, but that was rained off the turf. So Wesley having the only option now to stretch her out, but I do think it's a positive that he did think she was good enough to take on the boys 2 weeks ago. We'll see if Mentality can indeed steal it, as you said, Greg, out in the front end.
All right, Maggie, thank you again. That is race 9. She'll take those blinkers off. Start number 2 and go 2 turns. We'll see how far her speed can carry her. Right now, we start off our pick 4 with this race, New York bred maiden special weights, mile on this inner turf, and Gabby, appealing briefs right now. The one to beat, coming off back-to-back narrow defeats, including here at Saratoga.
These races are not easy, the final 4 races of the day, and this might be one of the hardest races as well. We have your lukewarm favorite at 3-1 in appealing briefs, but she's starting to rack up those defeats. She's got 8 starts, 4 seconds, so you can't really have a lot of trust in her, and we have to see how kind of the pace scenario unfolds, but this is an incredible betting race.
Can she get over a little bout of second-itis for appealing briefs? Check in with our guys downstairs, get their thoughts. New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling, former New York Bet Paula Duca, and track announcer at Monmouth, Frank Miramati. Guys.
I think the biggest question in this race is how we think the race is going to be run, because obviously that's going to play a great role in how it's decided on the racetrack. And for me, I think the shipper, the 9 Go Silently, who has that one race at Aqueduct against New York Breds, could be the speed here for Dylan Davis, who's looking for his second win in the afternoon.
We've seen the horses from Indiana Down struggle a little bit, but you know what? This horse ran good last time. Zula Alpha, who beat this horse, was a European import that's put together 2 decent races. Dylan Davis, I think, is going to be on the send here. It might be the horse to catch.
That's my horse to win this race, Paul. I like the fact that this horse came in last time, was very well backed. And believe it or not, it may seem like a very obscure angle, but I like when I see horses at low odds, at lesser circuits, come to bigger circuits, because it means that the connections are confident. And I think this horse fits right here. Obviously, they're here because they're a New York bred. We know that, but I think this is the horse to beat.
And we are talking about the 9 Go Silently, but we want to talk about the 10 Appealing Briefs, because Appealing Briefs finished second, while Summer Mischief, who's the 12 today, finished third. And we could take a look at that race last time. And I think Gabby made the most important point here when she was upstairs. Appealing Briefs has now finished second in what? 4 career races and 8 starts. It starts to get a little wearisome, especially when they're favorites, but she is the horse to beat. Or he is, excuse me.
Yeah, he is. And you know what? The horse on the inside, Summer Mischief, I could go against her too. I mean, she had a great trip. They're going to get outfinished by the horse Hobo on the outside, but they both look to me. Listen, Summer Mischief had a great trip. She was a 12 that day. Appealing Briefs, I'm with Gabby too. That's a horse that you want to try to beat.
I mean, Summer Mischief had a dream trip of dream trips there. The key is that the blinkers come on. That's a late equipment change, but I'm actually against both of these horses here. I think a new face beats them both one more time.
I think they're both players, but they're certainly horses you might try to beat, Greg.
Both players, and both horses have the leading riders, the top 2 riders at the meet on board, the Ortiz brothers. We're going to take a break in the action. Start of the late pick 4 coming up. We'll be back with the post parade right after this. Stay tuned.
Eclipse Award winner Blame retired to stud with more than $4.3 million in earnings, including a historic victory over Zenyatta in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Now he's making a name for himself as an internationally successful stallion. In 2017, his top runners include stakes winner No Fault of Mine, Japanese star Resonator, and classic winner Singa, the dominant victor of this year's Grade 1 French Oaks, Blame at Claiborne Farm.
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Use NyraBets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. NyraBets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NyraBets.com.
Back on Saratoga Live. Good to have you with us as we continue along here in our final week of the meet. And there is the top horse in training, Gunrunner. Top Gun looking to get back to work this Saturday in the Grade 1 Woodward.
And he looks fantastic, Greg, ever since dominating in the Grade 1 Whitney last time out. He's trained forwardly in the morning, and you can see him here just taking a walk around the paddock. He's schooling, getting set and ready to go for the Woodward, and he's not really turning a hair. This is a horse that just continues to thrive and continues to get better and better. And
let's not forget how he won, too, carrying that little rabbit horseshoe along with him, extra little baggage along the way in the Whitney, which got so much attention. We're going to be on special start time, by the way, on Saturday, 3:30 Eastern. And, of course, the Woodward you can catch on NBC Sportsnet at 6 Eastern with the Grade 1 Woodward and the Grade 1 Spinaway. We will have the Grade 3 Saranac on our program, so we hope you join us. Again, special early start time for us on Saturday at 3:30 Eastern. You play along, and all these races that we bring you from home or wherever you may be with your mobile device by going to Naira Bets. Bet 200. You'll get 200 in your account. Use the promo code PICK5 to get signed up and started all across the country. Go to NairaBets.com and play along over 200 tracks nationwide. Approaching the 16-minute mark to post here for the 7th race. Coming up, it is still Appealing Briefs, who is favored at 5-2. And the guys downstairs, Gabby, seem to be against both the 10 and the 12. Meanwhile, Ides of March down on the inside taking some play.
Yeah, this is going to be a competitive race. We have a couple of sprinters stretching out to 2 turns, so the pace scenario is going to be curious as well.
Well, how do they look in the paddock? Always important. Let's go to Maggie for more.
And as Gabby brought up, the fact that there are some horses coming into this mile race off the back of sprint efforts, and one of which is coming off of a year and 2-day layoff as well. That would be number 6 in here, Catch a Cab. He returns as a new gelding, now as a 3-year-old here, and he looks super fit. I mean, I could not ask this horse, considering the layoff, to look any more fit than what he does. Now, he isn't the biggest in stature, which obviously doesn't bode that well for stretching out. But then again, he's got a very elongated frame. So going this flat mile, albeit around 2 turns, kind of suits him well. I think he fits nicely in this spot here. We'll see if he actually is in fact ready, though, fitness-wise, for this start back. But like I said, I can't fault him at all. Number 8 is Charge Latouche for trainer Michael Dickinson, and he looks fantastic. Don't get me wrong, second off of that long layoff, but to me, he looks more like a sprinter. Yes, maybe he does steal it on the front end. If he shows some speed on this inner turf course, he could very well do that. From a pure physical standpoint, though, I don't necessarily see it. And then finally, number 11 is JJ's Dreaming, a first-time starter here from Mark Henning, but really everything you want to see in a first-time starter. He's physically very well suited given the conditions. He has a turf hoof. He's a son of Freud. He's a bigger frame, a little bit longer as well. Is wearing blinkers, just a short cup here for his first race, but looks very fit, is dappled head to toe. At a price he's a firster, I think we should all consider. Greg?
Maggie, thanks. So intriguing, as this race was not hard enough. Now a first-timer you might have to throw into the mix as well at 12-1. Let's send it downstairs to the guys here. Pick 4 coming up that is very intriguing, gentlemen. How do you play it?
Well, someone here is going to be smarter than me to play it. I'd be using the 1, 9, 10, and 12 in this race if I was starting. Anybody else have any better ideas?
Well, I think that's what I used. I'm deep in this race. I don't know about you, Frank, but I'm deep in here. I'm going to get to my single. In race number 9, I'm taking my shot in the P.G. Johnson. I'm going with the maiden, Wild and Ready. I think that horse was way better than actually the donk horse and got in a ton of trouble. Romantic Babe, taking nothing away from Romantic Babe that day. I just think Wild and Ready ran superb that day, so I'm taking a shot. I know Orbelution is the horse to beat. 1, 6, 11 in the last. That's my ticket.
I am going to single in the second leg here. I think this is a wide open contest. I'm taking a stand against the participants in that August 6th, 4th race, the 10 and the 12. In race number 8, it could have been a perfect ending for Mike Hushin's career. Jupiter Rising was very live that day, had some trouble. Sometimes these trouble trips are overplayed. I think with this horse going to Pletcher here, we'll fire a huge shot in this race. In the feature, I definitely think Orbelution is the horse to beat. She's my top pick, but just in case, I'm using some others, including a long shot with Smarty Jones on the bottom side, and that's old-fashioned style. My last race selection is the 5, Right Ben. He was giant when he won at Monmouth. Last time out, he basically laid down. I'm going to give him one more chance. I actually like speed horses going further than when they tired going a shorter distance.
It's a tough race. Yeah, we haven't really talked about the 1, Ides of Arch, going out for Leah Giamatti. And Ides of Arch hasn't done a significant amount of running in his races, but at the end of the day, he's run speed figures that are competitive, and he draws very well on the inside. So I think he's an automatic use for no other reason than that.
I think so, too. I think he's an automatic use as well. He had blinkers last time out. If you look, okay, he lost to Hobo. What did we just see in the backtrack or in the replay with between the 10 And the 12, they lost to Hobo. So the one figures in here, you know, needed that race. Hadn't had a race since May.
Listen, Andy knows very well that there's not a chance I'm going to leave Uncle Chester's full brother out. So I'm also with him on Ides of Arch.
Well, I hope you didn't waste any money on Uncle Chester in the next leg of this pick 4. The 6 is a horse that is being used as well, Catch a Cab, coming off a long layoff for the Cassies. Here's a stat for you for what it's worth. 250-day layoffs with maidens. Now, this is on all surfaces. They are 15 for 74 with $2.06 ROIs. Jessica can come back. But doesn't Catch a Cab kind of have to improve off his form as well as come off the layoff?
I think improve. You know, the first start on turf, obviously a year ago, I thought he was very sharp out of the gate. And maybe now off this layoff, look for him maybe to go to the front end. I know Joel's not the kind that takes the initiative, but maybe this horse goes to the front today.
And this was a horse that comes out of a very productive race. 3 winners and 2 third-place finishers. It was a long time ago, but nevertheless, it was a good race.
It was a dirt race. And his turf race, though, wasn't terrible. I think, Paul, it's an excellent point about him being potentially, if nothing else, maybe a thorn in the side of the 9. As we look at the 9, and we all touched the 9, go silently early. And I know that I'm on the same page with Frank with this horse. The problem is a little bit when a horse looks so obviously as the speed in these spots, and we're all trying to be wise guys, doesn't everybody see the same thing, and it never seems to work out?
Yes, but he did sit a little bit in his race over at Tampa 3 starts ago back in March. And talk about productive races. As of time of entry for this race, there were 5 horses that ran back out of his race at Indiana Downs. 4 of them had won.
No, that's
a good thing.
It's interesting. The winner of that race improved his Beyer figure 5 points. The second place horse won at Belterra at 1-5 and ran 19 points worse. And the 5th one won and paid $260. So it was interesting going through it. But others have come back and run very, very well in there. I'm not exactly sure. We'll go to the 10 horse Appealing Briefs. And we've talked about this horse. I would never leave him out of a ticket. I don't think. I think you're dancing with the devil when you do things like that.
You are a little bit.
I think he's the kind of horse that you want to play against in the race, at least in the front end. But don't you have to cover him in multi-race bets unless you're Frank Miramati?
I had to toss this one, Frank. Here's the thing: this horse has run second to Adonis Creed. He's run some good races. Snap Decision has won a couple races. I just think he runs to his company.
Red Knight's a nice horse for Bill Mott that beat him a couple of starts ago. A repeat of that performance would make it. But just every time I watch that August 6th race, I had to say to myself, if I'm going against Summer Mischief, I have to go against a horse who's had 8 chances. He could win, and I understand it, but at a certain time, you got to draw the line.
A little earlier, I ran into trainer Michael Dickinson, who had some very nice compliments for her show. So if for no other reason, Gabby, shouldn't we be talking about his horse?
Absolutely. You always want to talk about the mad genius here in Michael Dickinson, but I thought that this horse was a little bit intriguing. Now, I know Maggie touching on the fact that she doesn't know really how far he wants to go, but watching some of his sprint races, I just kind of got the feeling that he wasn't a closing turf sprinter, so why not try to give him added distance? He's got 1 race under his belt. It was a productive race. We saw Crawdaddy to come back and win Uncle T-Bone. That race produced several next out winners, so I don't think he's going to be on the lead, but I thought he could be tactically positioned with the stretch out.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's just a bit of a gamble. And listen, Gabby's got some very good ideas, and this horse is a bit of a price. And I think at the end of the day, we'll all agree. And you talked about it right away, Paul. This race is a bit of a crapshoot.
No, it is. Gabby hit the nail on the head when she first started. This is the toughest betting race of the sequence. So when you get to the 8 horse, the horse was on the grind. And I agree that upstairs, too. Seems like no punch, no kick. Looked like she was loaded or he was loaded. He just got outrun that day. So maybe going a distance to ground, he'll be able to carry it.
Can Summer Mischief, the 12 horse, work out a trip from the outside? Got the rail last time, and I agree with you, Frank. This horse got a sensational trip last time.
He did. To me, he looks outstanding walking out of the paddock. We'll get more from Maggie on that, I'm sure. But the thing that I'll give him a little bit of a pass for squandering a dream journey that he got was that, A, it was his first trip around 2 turns, and then B, he gets the blinkers on today, so maybe he wasn't as focused as Christophe Clement would like in this situation. He's by Into Mischief, who's on an absolute roll. So he makes sense, but, you know, like I said, you can't use them all, and I'm just hoping that race was not that productive.
I didn't look it up, but, Paul, I feel like Hobo that won that race ran a good third against Knowles a 1 the next time out.
Yeah, it was not bad. And you see Hobo on a lot of the running lines. You see in the 1, you see in the 10 and the 12.
And Sam the Bugler is calling him out to the track.
Yeah, Hobo, of course, a David Donk horse who'd won back-to-back starts, and then Annie is right. He did run very good next time out, although that streak did come to an end. Here's our post-parade for race 7. We're going to kick things off with Ides of March. Rajiv Mirage will be aboard for Leah Giramati, the son of Arch here.
Ides of March goes out for Leah. Getting the rail can only help this horse's chances, and he's run fast enough to be at least a factor.
Constant Night we'll see next year for trainer Joseph Mazza. Eric Consell, and first time on the turf for the son of Dublin.
Appears to be a bit overmatched in this spot at a big price.
St. Patrick Frost is the 4. Blinkers go on for trainer Patrick Kelly and Kendrick Carmouche aboard.
Blinkers go on today 17-1. Has been having trouble getting out of the gate and hopes that pace comes back.
6-horse Catch a Cab, owned by John Oxley, trained by Mark Cassie, and Joel Rosario aboard, off for over a year.
Haven't seen him since Saratoga of last year, enlisted as a new time gelding today. Will hope to stretch his speed.
Prince Rainer, first time on the turf for Tom Albertrani. Blinkers go on, and Manny Franco rides.
A long shot, trying the turf with very little turf pedigree.
701 on Charge Latouche, trained by Michael Dickinson with Javier Castellano.
It took this horse a while to get going, a 5-year-old with only 4 starts, but has never gone 2 turns on the grass.
Go Silently comes in from Indiana for Anthony Granitz. Dylan Davis rides.
Dylan Davis will look to be aggressive early and try to pick up his second win with a shipper, a New York bred that has run in New York before.
4 seconds and 8 starts for Appealing Briefs. Jose Ortiz rides for Jimmy Toner.
The Blinkers have gone on in his past 2 starts to try to wake him up. We'll see if he can get it done today in his 9th try.
And here's the first-time starter that was intriguing to Maggie here. JJ's Dreaming, trained by Mark Hennig with Junior Alvarado.
He's a Freud, and I'm never going to argue with Maggie, and taking some nibbles at the window, a 1/2 slow turf winner.
And Summer Mischief, the Blinkers go on, trained by Christophe Clement with Irad Ortiz Jr.
Had an ideal trip on the rail last time out. We'll hope to get a similar trip, but from the outside post today.
Well, a few horses coming out of that Appealing Briefs race. Appealing Briefs, the 10 is your 5-2 favorite right now. One of them is this son of Arch here, Ides of Arch. Rajiv Mirage will be aboard with more. Let's go to Maggie.
And Greg, follow me here for a second. Ides of Arch might be the hunch bet of this race. Look, his full brother, Uncle Chester, is taking a stab against winners in the next race. Their dam, Chestoria, well, she won the PG Johnson several years ago. And both of these horses' trainer, Leah Giramati, she won the PG Johnson last year. So maybe it's just their day. But in all seriousness, I love the way that Ides of Arch looked here today. I like the warm-up he's getting underneath Rajiv Mirage. He just looks the part. I think he's very intriguing from that rail post. Greg?
Maggie, thank you. And taking money, too. 10-1 morning line, 6-1 right now. So it'll be second-time Blinkers this afternoon.
And especially in his last start, Greg, he was pretty much pace compromised. We saw them set slow fractions in there, and he just couldn't overcome that. He was spinning his wheels behind that pace. But today, with all the sprinters stretching out to 2 turns, you'd imagine it's going to be a bit more honest and help this horse who's well posted towards the inside.
Now we'll see a couple of ones up there from our analysts, both Paul LaDuca and Maggie Wolfendale, going with Ides of Arch here in this spot. So we'll see if this one can improve here and get over the hump. But as mentioned, it's taking some plays. We get a look there at the 11, that first-time starter. Double-digit odds and tough spot to win first time out. But we'll see what happens here for Mark Hennig.
It is, and JJ's Dream, you know, sometimes if you don't like a couple horses in a race, you always want maybe a new face. This horse definitely has a nice pedigree. He's out of a mare that's all the foals have really won.
And guys, we're getting a look here again at Summer Mischief. Again, the equipment change, the Blinkers go on. Still lightly raced on the turf, so it appears there is some upside here.
No, I think that's the best point for her, Greg, that she is, or he is lightly raced. I don't know why I want to call them she's, because I always get it wrong. If it's fillies, I call them colts. If it's called boys, I call them girls. I guess lightly raced is the excuse, but I just can't get over going from post 1 all the way out to post 10.
You know, Greg made a good point that, or no, I'm sorry. Frank made a good point. First time going around 2 turns, conquered a lot of things. He probably shouldn't be in maiden 2 back, man. He was such the best in that race. And he got beat by Uncle T-Bone. He was behind horses. So then they tried long with that run. Now you got 3 races here pretty quickly. And, you know, that's what worries me about the 10 and the 12. They're both running 3 races pretty quick, and the fresh horses have been better here.
And a lot of people like the third time off the layoff angle, and that's what you get with Appealing Briefs. And look, yes, he has 4 second-place finishes, but at least he's consistent, he's honest, and he'll probably be there or thereabouts again. I personally am just hoping one of these others will step up and put the 10 and the 12 in a position, once again, where they get a minor award. I continue to see the 12 Summer Mischief on the track, and he catches my eye. He's the one I fear more of the two.
I prefer appealing briefs. I think appealing briefs is better. I agree with what you said about the 12 getting a good trip last time, and I hate when you have that big post position swing, especially when you're dealing with these races on the inner turf course, where posted position, especially at a mile, hit the turn so quickly, can make such a difference. I think that's one of the reasons that the one Ides of Arch, I got to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of. I use this horse defensively, but I feel as though this horse is going to fall into a good trip. And I mean, the truth in these mile turf races, trips are so important.
Yeah, they are. He got just a tiny bit tired late, but he had a right to, last time out. I thought he made a decent move. This is the horse that's somewhat of a wild card, because if you look at the 9, Go Silently, major player. If the 6 isn't in this race, I would think the 9 would be around 7-2. But I think a lot of people are worried maybe the 6 can get to the front end, or can the 6 rate or not. I think Catch a Cab goes to the front, and then Go Silently, the 9 maybe lays off him. We'll see what happens. And I think I agree with Andy, because the 10 can just fall out of the gate. The position doesn't mean nothing to the 10. The 10's going to come from way back. 12 is got to worry a little more from the position.
He gets the blinkers. Maybe he'll be a little sharp out of the gate. He broke well last time out, albeit from an inside post. But this Catch a Cab is an intriguing horse to me, because the horse who beat him that day in that dirt race came back. He won a nice stakes race over at Finger Lakes. And like I said, it was a productive heat. And those are always important to look at. What happens out of a maiden race?
Yeah, it's a year layoff, a year plus. It's almost a 13-month layoff, and now stretching from sprint races to route races. That's my biggest concern. I think if this horse was coming in with the form, and I personally would only care about the turf race. I don't care what this horse did in the dirt. Not that he ran poorly in there. The turf race was okay.
I thought it was good too.
And your point about the horse being forwardly placed is a good one, Paul, and that could help his chances. I just wonder, is he really going to be ready to win at a mile off that layoff?
If he's going to win the race, it's gate to wire, right? I mean, maybe the 9 can lay off. But, yeah, I would think, Gabby, Catch a Cab's got to go gate to wire in here. I think probably going to be fresh.
Well, the way I see it, especially when we're talking about layup horses who are coming off sizable layoffs, I don't think it's so much applicable to turf races as it is to dirt races. Sometimes we see horses actually run a bit better over the turf after a freshening. And this horse, look, he debuted sprinting on the turf. He was 2. They probably wanted to get a race underneath of him, but I do think that he's probably a better 2-turn horse, and that's why he shows up here off the layoff.
Certainly, maybe the X factor of this race, because we don't know what we're going to get with him. I haven't seen him in a year. Just his second start on turf, and a new gelding as well off the bench. So 6-1 on Catch a Cab. A lot of ways to go in this race to kick off this late pick 4. Over $430,000 in the pool. And there is the 9. We talked about the 9 a little bit, and dangerous because of his speed. We know how speed is played on this inner turf course, and we'll see if Dylan Davis, how aggressive he is early.
Yeah, the problem is, as we were mentioning, there's a whole bunch of sprinters stretching out to 2 turns. But the good thing about the 9, Go Silently, as he's shown that he can track the pace and still be successful as well.
All set for the starts of this late pick 4 appealing briefs. The 10, 4 seconds and 8 starts. Can he get over the hump this afternoon? Let's send it upstairs to the voice of horse racing's Triple Crown for the call, Larry Colmus.
Summer Mischief and Around Ortiz Jr. take their spot in line. All in line, ready for the start. They're off. Catch a Cab was off to a slow beginning. It is Goes Silently and St. Patrick Frost out for the lead together, and Summer Mischief is away running in 3rd on the outside. Ides of Arch follows 4th along the rail. JJ's Dreaming is 5th. Charge Latouche 6th as they make their way into that turn. Saving all the ground there is Constant Night right against the rail. In between horses, Prince Rainer Appealing Briefs is 3 wide, and Catch a Cab is last. 23.32 is a sharp opening quarter mile for St. Patrick Frost, a long shot leader onto the backstretch. 3/4 of a length ahead of Summer Mischief, who's second on the outside, prompting the pace under a hard hold from Around Ortiz Jr. Goes Silently is 4 lengths off of them. Then Ides of Arch, JJ's Dreaming, Charge Latouche about 8 lengths behind as they continue up the backstretch through a half in 46.39. And then it's Constant Night. Appealing Brief still on hold, 9 lengths from the front. After that, it is Prince Rainer. Catch a Cab is 15 behind. And now they make their way around the far turn, and Summer Mischief grabs the lead. Summer Mischief shakes away, goes silently. On the move now up into second. Appealing Briefs has made a strong bid now, going by several horses wide into the stretch. Ides of Arch is coming on two. JJ Streaming had to steady there. Then it's Constant Night into the final furlong, and here come the Ortiz brothers. On the outside, it is Appealing Briefs who goes up to take the lead. And Ides of Arch now on the inside, and down toward the inside, it's Go Silently. These three down to the wire now, it's Go Silently and Ides of Arch, and on the outside, Appealing Briefs. They're coming down to the line, it's Ides of Arch. Ides of Arch over Go Silently, and Appealing Briefs who were in a photo, and then Catch a Cab fourth in 135.41.
Ides of Arch, Leah Germani, Rajiv Mirage start off this late pick 4 at 6-1.
They sure do, and Rajiv Mirage put this horse in a winning position, kind of tucked down on the inside rail. We saw the 4, actually, St. Patrick Frost go out there and set those early fractions. Unfortunately, the 12 Summer Mischief, who broke outward immediately coming out of the gate, he was just left chasing that hot pace and collapsing for these 3 horses, guys.
Yeah, good trips really for all of these horses. The 9 had to do a little bit of work to get the position early, but overall I thought Dylan did a good job. And I liked how he hung the 12 out a little bit to make sure that one did some work. They all got good trips. They got a fast pace to go to at the start. The 6 blew the break and finished 4th.
Yeah,
Very
watch
nice
the horse on the complete outside to the left, the 10. He starts leaning in on the 1 and the 9 here, and they all start bunching up. Now, the 9 maybe caused it, but this is all race riding here. And I truly believe the 1 wins this race because the 10 got to the outside of him. The 10's got a lot of hang, Frank.
Wow, he had a perfect dead aim situation, but let's take nothing away from the winner. Ides of Arch, Uncle Chester's little brother, gets the job done, so they're now both graduates in this world. And a game performance from Go Silently. I mean, he did get a dream trip to me, but he fought back when he was headed at the 8th pole, so certainly nothing to cry about in defeat.
I think of the 3, the 9 may have run the best race because it was such a narrow finish, but it's a heck of a stretch run, Gabby, by these horses.
It really was, and we could just see Ides of Arch, probably the most tenacious of them all, but a good stretch run. Good call by Maggie, too, with the hunch bet of the day in Ides of March.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done with that. 1-9. Wow,
I thought the
10-6, 6-1 start with Ides of March. Leah Germani collecting a victory, and Maggie all over it in this 7th race. We'll be back to wrap up the 7th. When we come back, short break here, and we'll return with more Saratoga Live coming up. Where do you find horse racing's next superstars? Right across the street, the Saratoga Select Yearlings sale. By the way, there is a Stewards inquiry in this 7th race. We'll have more on that when we come back.
And they're off. NyraBet's Pick 5 is now available exclusively online at NyraBets.com. Bet the NyraBet's Pick 5 every race day with a 15% takeout on the last 5 races on the card from the country's best racing at Belmont and Saratoga. Find it nationwide on NyraBets.com right in the Bet Type drop-down menu or at any Nyra track or New York OTB location. NyraBet's Pick 5, racing's best bet.
Hold everything. This 7th race to start off this late pick 4, far from official. Stewards' inquiry and objection. There is Leah Giramati, whose horse crossed the wire first. Announcement from track announcer Larry Colmus, and it sounds like we have no change. Celebration there from Leah Giramati. Let's take a look, though, at what was going on with Ides of March and the interference, or alleged interference. Paul, on the 9, Go Silently.
Yeah, if you look at the horse in the lavender and the black on the rail and the horse in the hot pink in the middle, actually the 9 was the one that caused the contact. Confusing here on the objection. Now, does Rajiv start to pin the 9 a little bit towards the rail? Yeah, but there's no contact after that. Again, take a look at it. If we show it again, the horse on the inside started the contact. So I don't really get it and why it was put up, but the stewards made the right call by far.
So result stands. It has become official. 1-9-10-6 after a little bit of drama, and that makes the victory all that much sweeter for Leah Giramati.
Absolutely. She can rest easy this evening here. But, yeah, it was kind of a superficial bumping down the stretch. Right call by the stewards, and the connections happy getting the win picture taken.
Well, Andy Frank, I'll bring you guys in on this. Paul, we looked at it there. It didn't even look like there was much contact. Are you guys in agreement with this?
Yeah, no, I think this is just race riding by everybody down there. And, I mean, maybe the one drifted a little bit, but there was no content. That's not what I would call hurting. They may have both been a little tired.
No brainer. They made the right call, and it was made in prompt fashion, rightfully so.
So, Ides of March, $15.60 for the win, owned by ELR Corp. Rajiv Mirage, board for the winning ride for Leah Giramati. And, of course, we're going to see his brother in the very next race with Uncle Chester. Let's head downstairs to Maggie for more.
And she did have to sweat it out a little bit, but all smiles here in the winner's circle. Leah, Ides of March, sending out Uncle Chester in the next race here. Kind of a family affair.
It certainly is. Full brothers, and let's see if we can pull off the double. It might be a little tougher task for Mr. Chester, but we'll try.
And as we were watching, the head-on here, and I feel as though it was the right call here. Obviously, Rajiv getting in tight, but obviously contact kind of made first by Dylan Davis.
Absolutely. It looked like Dylan kind of came out a little bit first, and Rajiv is between horses, and now he's got to hold his ground. And Rajiv came back at him, kind of, race riding, but never touched him.
Do you think that put a little fight in Ides of March?
Maybe. That's a good angle, Maggie Morley.
Well, I try to come up with lots of angles like I did for Ides of March.
Good one. I like it.
All right, Leah, thank you.
My stable now.
Okay, give me the condition book. I think, I'll try.
Can you give instructions to Rajiv in the paddock next?
No, that's all you.
You sure?
Yeah, I have to do pre-race stuff.
Oh, okay.
All right, Leah, well, congratulations here. Always a pleasure to talk to you.
You too.
All right, Greg.
All right, we'll see if his brother can go back-to-back for Leah with Uncle Chester coming up in the next race. Here's a look at the Naira Bets late pick 5 follow-along. $109,000 in the pool if you play through Naira Bets and you're the single winning ticket. Minimum payout of $150,000. So that is an extra 41 grand in the pool if that happens to play out that way. Yesterday, the late pick 5 paid $61,000. Incredible.
That was a tough one to have, but if you had it, well, you were well rewarded so far. We've got 2 nice prices to start things off, and we're nowhere near finished. This late pick 5 was a doozy.
Long way to go. We'll set up the 8th race coming up in just a little bit. Of course, well, let's do it right now. Mile and a 16th on the turf, New York bred entry-level allowance. And look how wide open this board is. Yes, things are only getting more difficult right now. Ode to the Hunt right now with Jose Ortiz for Rick Violet, 7-2, very mild favorite.
I don't know why this horse is opening up as a favorite as opposed to others right now. He's 1 for 17 on form, 1 for 13 on turf, and this is another one that just doesn't always have that will to win. There are other horses who are coming out of troubled trips and perhaps in better form than he is, so we'll see how it all shakes out, but this was another very competitive betting race.
Well, we have 2-year-old fillies going long on the turf as our feature later today. This weekend, we have some of the best 2-year-old fillies on dirt, trying to separate themselves in the Grade 1 spinaway, and a filly who was sensational in her debut. Still has people talking Chad Brown's separation of powers.
And she does have to overcome the rail post position as Pure Silver, the even money runner there for trainer Todd Pletcher, draws to her outside. Both fillies have a lot of speed, but this was Pure Silver when we saw her last, winning the Grade 2 Adirondack, and she is just so incredibly fast. You just see her kind of pop out of the gate. So I still think that she's going to be the main speed, but she has a main foe in separation of powers.
Now, she would win the Grade 2 Adirondack by 9.5 lengths. Thrown her head around at the start a little bit. It did not matter. Nothing has stopped her. 3 for 3, but that is going to be quite a showdown. Lady Ivanka in that field as well. She won by 8 lengths first time out, and right now it's coming down to these two. Chad Brown, Todd Pletcher for the trainer title. Chad Brown trying to defend his title, winning it for the very first time last year, but both have a ton of ammunition left. And of course, Todd Pletcher, 6-time winner of the Spinaway. That is remarkable in itself. Can he get a 7th with Pure Silver? He's won 2 of the last 3 as well. And of course, he's trying to get back that trainer's title that he so covets. Here's another edition of I Am with Todd Pletcher.
I am Todd Pletcher.
Always Dreaming has won the Kentucky Derby.
And a second Kentucky Derby for Todd Pletcher. I am a trainer. I thought I was smart enough that I didn't need to go to college, that I, at that age, I was eager to get going and wanted to get into the horse business, and it was really my parents that influenced me to perspectives. But, going to the University of Arizona and being in the racetrack industry program, I think I saw a different side. A lot of that's dealing with the front side management and parimutuel departments and things like that, that on the backside you know it's happening, but you don't really know the details of it. So it was helpful, and I think just from a perspective of maturing, getting a little older, and once I was finished with college, I was ready to go to work.
Jersey Girl holds on. More Than Ready, sprinting today, 7 furlongs in 122 and 2.
I think I always feel like More Than Ready and Jersey Girl were kind of the 2 horses that really helped me get going.
Super Saver Calvin Burrell, 1 furlong for the Derby here.
Super Savers Derby win was probably a little different for me because at that point I think our 0 for streak was whatever it was, and so it was almost like a relief.
But in Super Saver and Calvin Burrell, the unflappable Calvin Burrell, riding that rail to victory once again in the Kentucky Derby.
The coolest thing about winning the Derby for me was for my parents to be there to see it. That made it extra special. Wow. I was pretty excited, and just the emotions that go through your mind in 2.5 minutes, that race from the stumble at the start.
And they're off. Oh, and the filly bobbled at the break. Rags to Riches stumbled coming out of there.
My first thought was, man, we made the wrong decision.
These two in a battle of the sexes in the Belmont Stakes.
I think of all the races that I've been in, I've had more people come up to me and tell me how excited they were watching that race.
They're coming down to the wire. It's going to be very close, and it's going to be a filly in the Belmont.
I think even in retrospect now, when you look back at it, that she was able to beat Curlin, who's a 2-time Horse of the Year, and I'm thinking that pretty soon the Hall of Fame needs to recognize that. I'm a little bit frustrated she hasn't been inducted already. My younger son Kyle's looking more into the engineering type stuff, and my daughter Hannah, she's going to be a freshman in high school. She likes the industry, and there might be something for her, although not backside related. My oldest son Peyton's going to Texas A&M this fall, and he's going to be animal science major in the equine program there. So I'm trying to talk him into maybe going to vet school, but he likes this industry as well, so we'll see how it plays out.
Todd Pletcher, of course, took 2/3 of this year's Triple Crown, 11-time leading trainer here at Saratoga. His streak of 6 straight training titles here came to an end last year. It almost seems strange. He would love it back, So it's going to come down to the wire between Todd Pletcher and Chad Brown. It could come down to the final day, down to the final race, perhaps even. We'll continue to keep our eyes on that throughout this meet here. It's this final week of the meeting on Saratoga Live. We're going to take a break in the action. More on the retirement of 2-time champion Songbird. Saw her for the last time. We didn't know that would be it for her in the personal ensign here at Saratoga. More on her career coming to a close when we come back.
Undefeated in sprint competition, Eclipse champion Run Happy captured 3 Grade 1 victories and set blistering speed records at both Keeneland and Saratoga. In the Breeders' Cup Sprint, he dominated the world's fastest runners, going 6 furlongs in a record-breaking 108 and change. The only horse nominated for 3 Eclipse awards, Run Happy was crowned champion male sprinter, all the while racing 100% drug-free. Champion, millionaire, record breaker, Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Change the way you watch racing forever with the new Naira Now app. Live racing in English or Spanish from a variety of camera angles, race replays, talking horses, race analysis, and a multitude of on-demand content, all in high definition. Naira Now is available on many platforms, including iOS, Android, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and more coming soon. Download Naira Now today, free in the App Store, and start watching the best racing like never before. Back on Saratoga Live, New York Racing Association. Of course, the leader in providing Spanish language content, Luis Grandison, provides pre-race analysis. It's available on the Naira Now app, all in HD. Provides race calls as well. Here's the final jump race of the meet from earlier today.
Faltando 150, está botando. No Wonder con Dois a bordo. Mantiene 4 o 5 cuerpos, defiende el favoritismo. No Wonder y gana fácil el evento por más de 10 largos. Segundo, Balanza de Budget. Tercero está arribando Selection Sunday. De cuarto finaliza Orchestra Leader.
No Wonder for Elizabeth Voss starting off this Thursday card. Final jump race of the meeting.
Congratulations to them.
All right, let's get into the 8th coming up. We're 14 minutes away here. Mile and a 16th on the turf. New York bred entry-level allowance. This board is wide open. It is still the 9, Ode to the Hunt, who's the one to beat on the board, though it's 7-2.
Now we'll see how the final odds actually get when we get there, but I thought that the 8 Jupiter Rising was a horse that would figure to take a lot of money in here. Now trained by Todd Pletcher, came out of a troubled trip last time out. I thought Storm Prophet in here, the number 6 as well for trainer Linda Rice, has been a horse that's been in form in his past 2 starts and well backed by the betting public. So yeah, this is a very tough race.
And nothing like Appealing Briefs we saw in the last race. That's a horse who had never won, but had a lot of seconds. And there's a lot of seconds with Storm Prophet, the 6 as well. It was the morning line favorite in this group. 5 times second in 12 career starts. Just 1 win on the turf, guys.
Interpreting races correctly has a lot to do with whether or not you can win races, bets at the racetrack. And Storm Prophet, Nuts for Bolts, and the 9-0 to the Hunt all come out of the same race where Manifest Destiny was very fortunate to finish second because of trouble. Storm Prophet had no real excuse, saved ground on the rail, and was just third, and as Greg said, was been second 5 times in 12 starts, doesn't like to win. This 5 Nuts for Bolts leapt up at the start. You're going to see is the number 11 horse in the far outside. Leapt the start, literally spotted the field 5 or 6 legs. In doing so, changed the pace dynamic also because it was a horse that could be forwardly placed, lost all chance. The 9-0 to the Hunt is taking a lot of money because it was compromised by the lack of pace in this race. But you'll also see 0 to the Hunt. You can see that horse completely and totally blocked with Jose Ortiz. It would have been closer. He's not a win machine, but he very likely would have been closer in there. And that's why the 5 and 9 are taking money. They were both badly compromised.
Yeah, and here's the other part about the 3, or here, the 3 in this replay. You see 0 to the Hunt. Now the 9 today. That was the first time he ran as a gelding. So I think a lot of the public are thinking, okay, wow, he improved a ton with a bad trip, and that's why he's 4 to 1.
And there is a look at Ode to the Hunt. We saw him finishing up with some nice interest there. It was his first start in 6 months, so he certainly has a right to improve today.
Yeah, we'll see how these horses do out of there. It's really a trips thing, and you have a similar situation with a horse like the 8, Jupiter Rising, the 11, Lead by Example, come in the same race. Jupiter Rising was in real trouble. We're talking about the 9. We're looking at the 9, I'm sorry, over the Hunt now. And I think he's very dangerous, by the way. And I like you brought that point up, Paul, about him being gelded last time. I actually forgotten that. And you're right. We'll see if it helps him get over it. We saw a horse yesterday that still acted badly. Talking about the 8, Jupiter Rising, he was coming out of a race last time, and I don't know if we have time to show that, but he bore out very badly to start. He'll bear out so badly, he'll leave the screen.
Yes.
And then, it's just racing gods, right? Mike Hushin's last career starter bears out and takes himself out of the race and then gets completely slouched in the stretch. An argument could have been made the winner should have come down in this race.
Yeah, and you look at Jupiter Rising, focus on Lead by Example to the 11. Look at the 4, nowhere to go, loaded, and watch Joel Rosario has to stop. And so does Jupiter Rising. Both of these horses, I think, are live. Jupiter Rising, I think, is going to be your favorite by the time they start the game.
We'll talk about this more later. We'll head out to Maggie right now.
Thanks, Andy. And I'd like to take a look at a horse who is a first-time gelding, coming off a little bit of a break, and that is number 7 in here, Mission Leader, who will get back to the turf after only 1 try on it as a 2-year-old, and that was a second to none other than the 2017 King of Saratoga and Voodoo Song, who is entered for the Saranac this Saturday for his 4th win up here of this meeting. But Mission Leader physically looks like a horse who should take to the turf. I'm really intrigued to see what he will do getting back to the surface. Furthermore, this is the most fit I've ever seen him look. Thus, that's what happens a lot of times when horses are gelded. So very, very positive outlook on this horse who is, albeit, taking no money. Moving on to number 11, second off of a layoff. That is Lead by Example for Nick Essler. And I just thought he looked more tucked up, a little more sharp, a little more into the bridle here for his second start of 2017, and just really looks the picture here. We'll see, not the greatest post from the outside. And then finally, number 9 is Ode to the Hunt, who is a second-time gelding, and he was still a little bit naughty in the paddock as a first-time gelding last time, but today he's a little bit more calm and focused, so maybe that's starting to take a hold. But as I said, when he showed up as a gelding for the first time, once they're past 4 years old, a lot of times it really won't make that much of a difference as far as temperament is concerned. So they're hitting the track here, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. So 7-2 on Ode to the Hunt. See how he fares here coming back. Jose Ortiz will be back aboard in the irons. But as you go top to bottom through this group and look at the odds board, everyone's clueless.
Exactly. And Maggie brings up a good point. When you wait so long to geld a horse, sometimes it doesn't take effect. And that's talking to Rick Violet before he sent out this horse last time out. He said he wishes he saw some changes in him in the morning, and he really didn't. So this is a horse who hasn't found the winner's circle in quite some time. We'll see if it takes effect today.
And there's a look at Ides of Arch's brother. The 10 horse there, Uncle Chester, took him a little bit longer than his brother to get that maiden score. 17th career start. He finally broke through last time out, and he did that going to the lead on the inner turf course.
This was such a savvy ride by Rajiv Mirage last time out. Nobody really wanted to go, so what did he do? He went, and he wound up wiring the field. But even though he has racked up a lot of those defeats, Greg, not a lot of them have been going a distance of ground on the turf, so he's probably best here.
Comes our post parade. Hear the call to post from Sam the Bugler. We're going to start with Cody's notes here. Big long shot inside for John Morrison, and Luis Reyes rides.
A long shot in this race, but he is a horse that loves Saratoga.
Manifest Destiny, we will see next here. Bruce Brown, runner, tried to go gate to wire each of the last 2 starts. Eric Consell rides.
Yeah, Greg, almost got the money at 30-1 last time out, and is going to probably try to do the same thing. Theft on the lead.
Here's Joe's Bold Cat for Rick Violet. Florent Giroux will be in the irons.
Ran well enough against open claimers, non-New York breds last time. Suggests he has a chance and a price.
And 3 seconds and 3 tries on the Saratoga turf. Here's Blame the Thief for trainer Timothy Hills. Paco Lopez aboard.
You know, his 2 turf efforts are not bad. He stretched his legs to 1 1/8 on the dirt, so he might be fit today.
Nuts for Bolts was 15-1 morning line. He's 9-2 right now. Trained by Rich Schosberg with Luis Saez.
Will be forwardly placed, assuming he breaks well, a logical player.
Morning line favorite and current 7-2 choice Storm Prophet, Linda Rice, Irad Ortiz Jr.
I know Linda's on a roll, but it's tough to take a horse here at 7-2 that's 0 for 10 the last 2 years.
Mission Leader, recent gelding, Kieran McLaughlin trainee, and has Kendrick Carmouche aboard.
Second Voodoo Song in his only turf effort, but Voodoo Song may have improved a lot since that race.
Yeah, expect to see that one being aggressive early. The 8, Jupiter Rising, that troubled trip last time out. Todd Pletcher trainee now with Javier Castellano.
I'm really surprised about the price here at 4-1. Feel this horse will go down a little bit because that last race was not that bad with some trouble.
Rick Violet trains Ode to the Hunt with Jose Ortiz.
Ode to the Hunt was blocked badly last time in a slow-paced race and is good enough to win this, but his 1 for 17 record a problem.
And the brother of Ides of Arch here, Uncle Chester, graduated last time out.
Yeah, his little brother won the last race. Probably told him, I'm going to try to win this one for you.
And lead by example, the 11 rounds things out. Nick Esler, Joel Rosario will be aboard. New audience joining us here as we get set for the 8th.
Grade 1 winner Data Link by world-renowned sire Warfront. Data Link scored in the prestigious Grade 1 Makers 46 Mile at Keeneland. Then set a new course record in the Grade 2 Monmouth Stakes. With a pedigree free of Mr. Prospector in the first 4 generations, Data Link is the perfect outcross option. His first weanlings turned heads, selling well above the stud fee. Data Link at Claiborne Farm.
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Use NyraBets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. NyraBets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NyraBets.com.
Orbelution had everyone talking after her turf debut opening weekend at Saratoga. Can she follow it up with a stakes score in the P.G. Johnson? Romantic Babe overcame trouble at the start of her debut effort and still managed to win. She'll now stretch out her talents around 2 turns for trainer David Donk. And now that he's top gun in the NTRA Thoroughbred poll, will Gunrunner be able to deliver with the weight of expectations in Saturday's Woodward? We'll preview his attempt at a second Grade 1 win at the meets. Hello, everyone, and those just joining us on Fox Sports 2 and Altitude Sports Network. Great to have you with us here for another edition of Saratoga Live. It's presented by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Final week of the meet as we get set for a big weekend coming up. Of course, we'll see Gunrunner this weekend in the Woodward, and we're going to have our feature race coming up in just a little bit as well. 2-year-old fillies on the turf. Greg Wolf alongside racing analyst Gabby Gaudet. And big news that will be bringing everyone in racing. We saw her in the personal ensign. Who would have thought that would have been Songbird's final start of the two-time champion's career?
She's been brilliant throughout her career, and we've been fortunate enough to see her both this summer and last summer, so we'll get to that. But also PG Johnson today. We've got an excellent feature race lined up, and Orbelution, the only entrant in there to go the distance. There are a lot of fillies stretching out in distance today.
All right, all of that coming up in the show, including that feature race, and yes, more on the retirement just announced today of Songbird coming up. Right now, race 8 is next for us. 2 minutes to post here in this New York bred entry-level allowance. Mile and a 16th on the turf ahead. It is Jupiter Rising, Ode to the Hunt, the 8 and 9 right now. Co-favorites on the board as we check in with Andy Serling, former New York Met, Los Angeles Dodger, Paula Duca, and the voice of Monmouth, Frank Miramati.
Thanks a lot going on. A very interesting 8th race coming up here, guys. And I know both of you are interested in Jupiter Rising and talking about the tough trip this horse had. Poor Mike Hushin, one of the greatest trainers in New York history. He retires. The last horse he saddles gets a nightmare trip. Is racing tough or what?
You know what they say, if you want a feel-good story, you got to read Dr. Seuss. Unfortunately, we couldn't get it that day. But I think Jupiter Rising is going to bounce back from that effort. He ran well in defeat. He goes to the barn of Todd Pletcher, who's the nation's leading trainer by earnings and the 3rd leading by wins.
Yeah.
He's in a very good barn, one of the greatest trainers to ever train in New York as well. And I think Jupiter Rising takes care of business.
And the
here.
money's starting to go that way. We thought that she would be the favorite coming into this race, or he would be the favorite. The 6 Storm Prophet really not getting played, Andy. And I think a horse that you got to try to beat at 3-1, the other choice in here.
I don't disagree with that. Here, I'll give you my knock on the 8. And I have the 8 in a pick 4 play. I have the 8 pick 3rd.
Okay.
The 8 had trouble, but in a weaker field. I feel as though the 5 Nuts for Bolt, just look at the 2 race back. Last time he lost all chance to start. But 2 back, he ran an 81 buyer, finishing 2nd to Black Tide, who might be odds on in this race, okay? The 9 horse Ode to the Hunt has run some faster races before, so I think the 8 may be in a tougher spot today.
Black Tide won 4 of his last 6, so he's a very good horse in sharp form. I got to say one quick thing about a long shot to consider. Number 4, Blame the Thief. Don't throw him out.
I like number 7 in here, guys. That is the first time got a mission leader. His Dam was a grade 3 winner on the turf. I think he'll like it getting back to it. The last time he ran on it, he was 2nd to Voodoo Song, who's won 3 races in a row in here. And we'll try the grade 3 Saranac this Saturday.
Maggie, thank you. So 15-1 here on Mission Leader, and one of the most aggressive riders here on the grounds on board with Kendrick Carmouche. We could see him fly out of there early.
Oh, absolutely. This horse showed speed at 2 years old, going a distance of ground on the turf, so we could see him forwardly placed again here today. And I don't discount this horse at a price whatsoever. Maggie brings up some fantastic points.
Loading up for the 8th on the card, and it's 5-2 favoritism now. The public has settled on Jupiter Rising then in that troubled trip last time out. Send it upstairs to the voice of New York Racing for the call, Larry Colmus.
Lead by Example comes up to the outside stall and goes in. They are all in line, ready for a start. They're off. Uncle Chester on the outside and Manifest Destiny out to the front together. Mission Leader came out running in 3rd, and then comes Storm Prophet in 4th as they make their way toward the turn. And down toward the inside, saving all the ground, there's Cody's Notes in mid-pack, racing about 5.5 lengths off the lead. Going up on the outside is Jupiter Rising, now about 7 lengths behind at this stage. And then it's Nuts for Bolts on the outside of Joe's Bold Cat. Blame the Thief is next, and the trailers are Ode to the Hunt and Lead by Example. Sharp quarter here, 23.17 onto the backstretch. Manifest Destiny and Eric Consell take early control here. They lead the way by a length. Uncle Chester prompts the pace 2nd by a length and a half. Mission Leader tracks them in 3rd. Storm Prophet is 4th, 4 lengths off the lead. And then it's Jupiter Rising, Cody's Notes. Nuts for Bolts on the outside. And then Joe's Bold Cat just behind them, 10 lengths from the front. Ode to the Hunt is next. Blame the Thief and Lead by Example. 47.35 was the half, racing for the far turn. Manifest Destiny continues to lead the way 3/4 of a length. Uncle Chester now edging up a bit closer on the far turn. And here's Storm Prophet moving up on their outside to make it 3 of them right together. And behind them, Mission Leader saves all the ground and angles to the outside now, and they're into the stretch. And it is Manifest Destiny, kicks away by 2. Mission Leader cutting into the gap on the outside second. These two are 1-2. Nuts for Bolts is trying to finish on outside of Storm Prophet. Jupiter Rising is down on the inside. Ode to the Hunt's in the center of the course with a late bid. Manifest Destiny digs in inside of Mission Leader. Manifest Destiny takes them all the way. Mission Leader was second. Storm Prophet, Ode to the Hunt, and Jupiter Rising in 141.08.
Well, Mission Leader ran good, but it was who got to the front first in this race. And Manifest Destiny, this time, after a couple of narrow defeats on the lead, finishes the deal.
Yeah, let's give Eric Ansell credit. He's made the most of his mounts this meet. He went to the front. Nobody else wanted it. Doesn't matter how many races are won wire to wire in the turf course. And this horse went to the front. Looked like Mission Leader, the long shot for Maggie, was going to get the job done with a good trip, but not to be denied. Got to be inside on these courses.
I got to give the horse credit. I thought he battled pretty good. You know, I kept looking at some of these horses. The 9 started launching, the 8. Joel Rosario put the 11 asleep, who was about 40 lengths out of it. But Mission Leader, I thought for a split second, just not enough fitness to get by.
Didn't have the punch at the last stage there. Manifest Destiny went up at 30-1 last time out. Proved that that wasn't a fluke with a very game performance. I was surprised he held on.
And we could see several horses trying to close from off of the pace, but they would be denied, as we saw Manifest Destiny go wire to wire. It's a very savvy move by Eric Ansell and a very good performance from Mission Leader, considering getting that added distance here for Kieran McLaughlin. But smart ride by both.
So Manifest Destiny, after a couple of narrow defeats, trying to wire field both at Belmont and at Saratoga back on August 6th. This time, able to get the job done despite a stout effort from Mission Leader, who was tracking behind the 2 speedsters up front. 2-7-6-9, and another price here in our Naira Bets late pick 5 sequence at 10-1.
That's a very nice price, and it's funny because this horse was defeated at 30-1 in his last 2 starts, but if you stuck with him one more time, you were rewarded with a 10-1 price.
Still to come, it is our feature 2-year-old fillies in the P.G. Johnson, and there is Orbelution. First time on the turf. It was opening weekend here at Saratoga, and she ran lights out at 1 1/16. Now she'll try and get a stakes victory. Coming up, it's the P.G. Johnson when we return on Saratoga Live.
Visit the new Rivers Casino and Resort, the Capital Region's only destination for live table game action and where the hottest new slots are paying out millions. Sign up for Rush Rewards and play up to $500 in slots on us. Plus, we'll double any casino offer and match your tier. Rivers Casino and Resort.
And they're off. Naira Bets Pick 5 is now available exclusively online at NairaBets.com. Bet the Naira Bets Pick 5 every race day with a 15% takeout on the last 5 races on the card from the country's best racing at Belmont and Saratoga. Find it nationwide on NairaBets.com right in the Bet Type drop-down menu or at any Naira track or New York OTB location. Naira Bets Pick 5, racing's best bet.
Multiple Grade 1 winner First Samurai by Giants Causeway got off to a quick start at stud, siring Grade 1 winners in each of his first 3 crops. His talented son Lee captured the Grade 1 Don Handicap in record time and retired to stud with over $2.3 million in earnings. Sovereign Award nominee Stack Deck captured the Grade 3 Bold Venture Stakes and Grade 2 Kennedy Road Stakes, both just to tick off track record times. First Samurai at Claiborne Farm.
Back on Saratoga Live, want to remind everyone watching and playing this afternoon, keep playing with Naira Bets after the Saratoga card comes to a conclusion with a 250,000 point all split on the 5th race at Del Mar. Just bet a $10 base exacta in race 5 at Del Mar and win or lose. Split 250,000 points. See all the summer promotions and bet racing nationwide at NairaBets.com. Still to come, feature race. There's a look at Bruce Brown, of course, Manifest Destiny, wiring the field back in race number 8. Eric Cancel doing a masterful job there on the front end. $23 winner in the 8th. Their 2-7-6-9 finish in race 8. Bruce Brown, Eric Cancel, Chalk Racing, and our Sugar Bear Stable, your winning connections. Feature race. Coming up next, it's the P.G. Johnson 2-year-old fillies running for a purse of $100,000 in 3-5 on Orvolution. 1 at a mile and 16th here at Saratoga back on opening weekend. And the public betting that she can do it again. Is she a superstar in the making? Perhaps. Where do you find the next superstars of tomorrow? You don't have to go far here at Saratoga. Quite often, you can go right across the street to the Saratoga Select Yearling Sale and find some of the great stars who could be tomorrow's Kentucky Derby, perhaps Triple Crown nominees, or even winners of some of the biggest races in the entire world. We followed 2 offspring of Warfront around the sale to see how they would fare and the pressures and the excitement of going through the sales ring.
You know, it's the day before, everybody gets very nervous. The hair starts standing on the back of your neck, and the vibes are all good. A lot of new faces, a lot of old faces coming back. It feels right.
I would say the market is healthy currently. It's not crazy. It's not overheated, but it's certainly very solid. The sales throughout 2017 thus far have been very positive.
So hip number 135 is one of those sort of chances of a lifetime. Warfront is an incredible young sire, gets a lot of international runners, and when you think of the pedigree that you have here and the fact that this filly is a half-sister to a European champion, I mean, it truly is one of those, the sky's the limit there. And she's very much like her sire. She's very light on her feet, she's a beautiful filly, and she's by a top filly sire, so can't say too much about her.
It's very interesting with this filly and her pedigree because they don't come on the market like this filly does in a long time, you know.
Based on the level of activity, when I've walked down through that area, the barn area, she certainly seems to be very popular.
You know, this is a really high-quality son of Warfront, top sire. He stands at Claiborne Farm. This fella is, he's got class, composure, balance, he's correct.
Certainly, if he goes on and performs on the racetrack like some of the good sons of Warfront have, he's certainly a stallion prospect with his pedigree.
He is very typical of Warfront. They don't tend to be great big strapping horses. They're neat machines.
His full sister was a Grade 1 winner. We think he's an excellent prospect. Be nice to look at him every morning when you come in at 4:30 and know he's going to run for you.
I feel very optimistic. I mean, getting ready to start here in a few hours. There's been a ton of interest and activity on the sales grounds. We've got a really good group of horses on the grounds. The market is very positive, so excited to get started tonight.
So there should be some fireworks with both of those Warfronts.
Unfortunately, she didn't sell tonight. She did not, we would call her, she was a buyback, she did not reach her reserve. She had, as we talked yesterday, she had an amazing pedigree. Her owners decided that they were not willing to sell her for the price that the market was willing to give them.
Well, you know, we valued her a little bit higher, and she is so precious to us that, you know, we decided, you know, we'll keep her and they'll go on and breed her or race or whatever they need to do, and down the road, should be worth a lot more than this evening, you know? So that's the way it goes at times.
Thank you.
I don't know that we've ever sold a horse for $995,000. Generally, the bid will advance to the $1 million, but the buyer saved $5,000 in the purchase price by kind of reducing the bid, which was kind of interesting. As I said, I've never seen that happen before, but you know, a lovely colt. We hope he achieves great success on the racetrack and might be featured someday on the cover of the catalog.
At that level, we were very pleased to get him.
You know, this is, I mean, you know, there was $52 million worth of horses that changed hands over the last 2 nights, and it was a tremendous sale overall. We set a record for the highest median price in the history of the Saratoga sale. This was a 97th sale, so we're pretty proud of that accomplishment.
Well, let's bring in Paul LaDuca. He doesn't like to just fire at the windows. You've been in this game from an ownership standpoint as well, Paul. You bought a 2-year-old in the past. What's that whole process like?
I'll tell you what, it's actually nerve-wracking, to be honest with you. I actually bought a Seeking the Gold colt called Golden Spikes, who won the carry back. And I've also been on the other side where I tried to put a horse through the sales ring that I bred to Stormcat. If you remember, Stormcat was $500,000 and the horse RNA'd. So it goes both ways. But the son of Seeking the Gold, he was good. And I wanted to go $200,000 on him, me and my partner, and then the next bid was $225. I'll never forget, I raised my hand just a little bit like this for $250, and we got him. And then when you sign the ticket, it all sort of hits you that you got this horse. Now you need to know where you're going to go, where the horse is going to go to. So, you know, it's something that's out of your control. I try to say this a lot, Wolfie. You talked about it a little bit yesterday about owning your own franchise. I've hit in front of 30 to 40,000 people and have never been nervous. I've watched my horse run or go through a sales ring and have been a nervous wreck. It's just out of your control.
I've been to a sale and covered it for a network before, and it's just a different kind of excitement, but you really feel that energy in the room. There's nothing like it. If you get a chance, certainly something to try and be part of, to witness in person. There is a look at Orbelution, 1-5 on the board right now. Sold at the Keeneland September yearling sale of last year for $370,000. And here's a look at that video. Hip number 1351. And pretty nice tag. The Orbs have been doing tremendous in the sales ring.
Filly go for $370,000 at the sale, but we've seen Orb progeny surpass the $1 million marker recently.
Yeah, I had a co-sales topper at the recent Fasig-Tipton sale. They've won on turf, on dirt. Been very impressive, reproducing a lot of the classic qualities of his famous classic-winning grandsires, AP Indy and Unbridled. And right now, everyone thinks it is a slam dunk case that it's Orbelution in here. But we have young horses, some of them making just the second start of their career. No one should be 1-5 in this race, should they?
No, we see a lot of horses who are getting at a distance for the first time, but you get what you know with Orbelution, in that you know she likes the turf and you know she likes the distance.
With more, let's go to Maggie.
Greg, thank you. And Gabby brought up great points with Orbelution, and she certainly looks the part here as well. But we have some fillies that are trying to stretch out here, and many of them only making their second starts. I like number 1 Mentality. She's a huge price on the board right now. Obviously, things skewed with the 1-5 shot up there, but she's a filly that should take advantage of her inside post and being the main speed in here. I know pedigree. She is a full to a filly who is a good dirt sprinter. She looks a lot like her, to be completely honest, but physically, she has a little more scope to her, so I'm fairly optimistic about her getting this. Furthermore, she's filled out and even grown since the last time I had seen her, so I like what I see from Mentality. She is a filly that can act up a little bit. Number 1, I'm talking about Mentality, so I will keep my eyes on her. Moving on to number 7, that is Wild and Ready. She faced Romantic Babe in her first start, but she's a filly that, to me, physically looks as though she's crying out for more ground. She'll get it here. She's convincing in her second start, despite being the only maiden in the field. Now, coming into from out of town is number 6, Sassy Sienna. And you can see, while she was 3 to 5 that day, she certainly hit her best strides in the latter stages, in the last 16th of a mile at Indiana Downs. And she's very long, very lanky. The more ground this filly gets to cover, the better she will become here for Brad Cox. I think she's dangerous coming in from out of town for this PG Johnson. Greg?
Making her second start, she is 9-1 on the board. The 6, Sassy Sienna, the daughter of midshipman, as mentioned for trainer Brad Cox. Orvolution, heavy favorite. Of course, a daughter of Kentucky Derby winner Orb, who's standing for $25,000 at Claiborne Farm. There he is in Paris, Kentucky, frolicking in the grass. And as mentioned, his offspring commanding a lot of attention and some big prices at auction early on in his career at stud. We'll be back with the PG Johnson next.
Summer of Dreams 4 is back at Foxwoods, and we've got guaranteed millions in cash and prizes up for grabs. Sign up free for Foxwoods Rewards and earn points playing our World Series of Poker and the Big Dream Slot Tournament with Mario Lopez. Also, try our new skill-based slots. Then, use your points for summer wonders like Lobster Madness, golf at the Lake of Isles, and shop the region's only indoor Tanger outlets. Foxwoods Resort Casino, the wonder of it all. Find your wonder now at foxwoods.com.
Change the way you watch racing forever with the new Naira Now app. Live racing in English or Spanish from a variety of camera angles, race replays, talking horses, race analysis, and a multitude of on-demand content, all in high definition. Naira Now is available on many platforms, including iOS, Android, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and more coming soon. Download Naira Now today, free in the App Store, and start watching the best racing like never before. Back on Saratoga Live, and there is colors of Songbird, won the Coaching Club American Oaks, the Alabama last year, came back this year to the Personal Ensign, defeated by Forever Unbridled, and her retirement from racing announced earlier today. We'll have more on that story coming up a little bit later on in the show as we get a look at Orvolution as we get set for our feature, the PG Johnson, coming up 2 to 5 favorite as she makes her second start on the turf, guys, and she has the experience of going a mile a 16th that came here at Saratoga, and it's a big edge compared to anybody else in this field.
She does, and she is the horse to beat, and I picked her. but 2 to 5 is ridiculous. I mean, she ran once. She got a very good trip. She showed nice acceleration to find position in the backstretch.
Yeah.
But she saved ground the whole way. And there's a lot of unknown quantities in here. They're all one-time horses. She is the horse to beat.
Yeah.
2 to 5, Paul?
Yeah, here's what happens. Why? It's a C opens, I mean, right here. But you have to admit, right here, she's a little green, but wow, she explodes, Frank. So that's what you got to give her credit for. I'm with Andy. She got a perfect trip, but she's running like her hair's on fire about right here.
There are already people talking about Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies turf for her. That's how good she looked in that victory.
Who, you?
Who's talking that?
Myself and
that guy over there? I think there's a guy over by that TV.
You'll be talking more about that.
He's on his 9th beer.
You'll probably be talking about that a little bit more. By the way, Todd Pletcher also trained the dam, My Rachel, so that's always extra special. When you have the family and you know how to bring them up, Orbelution is very, very talented. She proved it, but this is a big step. Anytime you face winners, regardless of who they are, it's tough. Here's what's happened. Someone plunged early, Andy, so that way when the horse goes up to 4 to 5, they're happy.
Well, that's actually a very good point. We'll see if she goes up that high. And by the way, all kidding aside, you're right. This race is an entryway, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies.
Yes, it is.
And there's absolutely no reason to think this horse cannot be in the race. Now, Wild and Ready finished behind Romantic Babe in their last start. And Romantic Babe ran very, very well. And we're going to show you the whole race because it's important to show you the star of the race because Romantic Babe actually is the 3 horse. And you'll see Romantic Babe break about a length slow. And, had a very good trip thereafter, saved ground. As you talk, Paul, and as well as Frank, just keep your eye on Wild and Ready because it's hard to really see exactly what happened. But about a quarter mile or so into the race, she's going to steady back and lose all chance. And she rallied well to get 3rd.
Yeah, watch her. She starts steadying right now. While you're going to focus on the 3 on the inside, she stays out of this trouble. The trouble hasn't happened yet. She's already steadying a little bit, and you're going to see it's really going to be tough to see because now you're going to see right here. Right here, when she hits the teleprompter, she goes all the way back. You see her get back. Now the 3 just went by her. Now watch the 3. Now the 9 starts drafting off the 3. And you can argue Wild and Ready is way better than her. She lost all position. Now watch the 3 swing to the outside here. And the 9, actually Wild and Ready, goes sort of the I guess, same path, but I thought finishes okay. Watch Le Peru. Not much here in the end, but she's striding out just as nice as the winner after all that trouble.
She certainly was coming along at the end, and Maggie suggested she thought this horse maybe could stretch out, and that's a positive.
I think the positive is the fact that from a physical standpoint, that's what Maggie saw. From a pedigree standpoint, the bottom side screams sprinter.
No, I have to agree very much with that. And speaking of sprinters, mentality, Gabby, breaking down on the inside. You got to think she's going to try to wire the field.
Yeah, I would think so. And this Wesley Ward runner she sent out with the blinkers off today, just probably so that she can harness that speed. But if you have natural speed and you draw the rail post position and you're going 2 turns for the first time, you really have no other option but to go. And this was mentality when she won at first asking. My only problem with her isn't so much, I guess, getting at a distance, but Greg, a lot of the time we see Wesley Ward, he's so good with his 2-year-old turf sprinters, and sometimes they just look deflated in their second start when they decide to get at a distance.
Well, we'll see what happens here. You're going to get a lot of extra ground, but that equipment change, you often see horses, if they can get loose out in front, relax, and just, that's the key. Is anyone going to put pressure? Can she do it and not have pressure on her early on? If she can, she's very intriguing, guys, at 11:01.
Well, she is, because the bottom side of her pedigree, Lemon Drop Kid, could run all day. So you have a little hope there that maybe she can carry the speed.
And on a turf course like this, Frank, that's going to help your stamina if you're in front on the inside.
She made the lead so easily last time, going 6 furlongs. She took a little bit of late money, too. She was hovering about 9 or 10 to 1 in the minutes leading up to post, and she took a little bit of a hit down to just under 7 to 1. She could be dangerous on the front end.
Well, she's got a lot of things going for her. Obviously, her speed, but her post position where she's drawn, and the fact that we are on the inner turf. Her speed has been so dangerous here. Post Parade brought to you by OCD Pellets, celebrating their 10th anniversary of supporting the equine industry with their 2-in-1 bone and joint supplement. For more information, go to OCDpellets.com. Here she is. Mentality. The speedster blinkers come off for Wesley Ward. Lindy Farms and Ricardo Santana Jr. aboard.
Yeah, blinkers come off, but I think the same tactics will be employed. Try to go to the front end and go gate to wire.
Leonard Green sends out the 2 old-fashioned style, trained by Gary Contessa. Luis Saez aboard.
She comes off of a victory last time out, but she's by old-fashioned after out of a dirt pedigree on the bottom side. She'll hope to improve on the turf.
The daughter of Orb. Here is Orvolution. John Velasquez for Todd Pletcher and Star Ladies Racing.
Impressive first time on the turf. She showed great acceleration late, and that's why she's 2-5.
Wellspring Stables sends out Lifetime Citizen, trained by Phil Serpy, and Irad Ortiz Jr. rides.
She's another one that could be a pace presence, was very fast in her turf sprint debut and had a troubled trip exiting the gate last time out.
David Donk trains Romantic Babe for Alley Fife Racing with Manny Franco.
Overcame a lot at the gate, got left, weaved through traffic, and was impressive first time out.
The Indiana shipper Maggie was talking about, trained by Brad Cox. Here is Sassy Sienna for Zayat Stables with Javier Castellano.
Popular at the windows first time out, but she did close from off the pace, and it looks like more distance should be suitable for her. Big shot right now at 6-1.
And Wild and Ready will try and break her maiden in a stakes race here for Mark Cassie, owned by Robert Masterson with Julian Leperoux.
Was beaten by the 5 Romantic Babe last time, but you could argue she might have been better. She had some trouble. Look for her maybe to show a little early speed out of the gate today.
8 minutes of post here in our featured PG Johnson 2-year-old fillies. Going 1 1/16. Everyone seems like they're ready to anoint Orvolution already. She is 1-2 on the board. Can she live up to the billing?
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Use NyraBets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. NyraBets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NyraBets.com.
Back on Saratoga Live, our feature race, the PG Johnson coming up, and that is Orvolution, 3-5 odds-on favorite here on the board after her brilliant debut on the turf here opening weekend at Saratoga. With more on this filly, let's go to Maggie.
And I'm joined by Suzanne Masters, a partner in Star Ladies, and we were just discussing about Orvolution's name. You're the one who came up with it.
That's right. We came up with the name because Orb is the sire, and Orb is also the world, and Revolution. We sort of combined Orb and Revolution, so Orvolution.
Well, she seems to be taking the world by storm as far as her talents. Very much odds on in here. And Suzanne, what do you think about her here in this spot in the PG Johnson?
Well, she's done really well in her races in the past, and she's getting faster, and she's seems to be enjoying a longer race. So we're really enthusiastic about this race.
And as far as Star Ladies, kind of came about 5 years ago with Lori Wolf kind of at the helm. But talk about your involvement and what it's like to be involved in an all-ladies partnership.
Well, we enjoy showcasing the fillies and their athleticism. And so we thought it would be great. It was a great idea by Lori Wolf to do something like this as a group and support the fillies.
Well, you're certainly supporting a nice one here in Orvolution. Suzanne, thank you and best of luck.
Thank you very much.
All right, Greg, we'll see if the filly that is odds on can get it done here.
Maggie, thanks. Got a lot of weight on her. 3-5 on the board on Orvolution. She, of course, is going to have to try and catch and run down this one here, Mentality.
And she is very fast, as we saw in her debut. So her first race in her career was going 3/4 on the turf, and she got the lead very easily. Now, with added distance, Wesley Ward decides to take the blinkers off, and that's pretty much just so that she can harness that speed and settle on the front end, as she already is very naturally fast. But I can't foresee the 4 Lifetime Citizen being too far off of her.
Well, guys, we know how aggressive Wesley Ward is with his turf sprinters, and this horse showed plenty of speed first time out. What do you guys think in terms of pace?
There's only one way to go here. Just go to the front, hope for the best.
That's the way Wesley runs. I mean, listen, you have to, by the way, for the people at home, when you win with certain equipment, you got to go back to the stewards and ask them, hey, can I take the blinkers off after this? So they're taking the blinkers off, and maybe Wesley's thinking, okay, this horse could be distance compromised. Let me take the blinkers off to relax him.
When horses from good horsemen take the blinkers off, it's my absolute favorite equipment change.
That's my worst change. Why would you change it if it's fix it if it's broke?
He knows what he's doing.
Take a look at the 5 Romantic Babe.
You know,
we gave some love to Wild and Ready. We gave no love to the horse that won the race.
That's true, too.
Why can't this horse improve stretching out as well? Romantic Babe certainly can win. You know, sometimes I get caught up, and I'm as guilty of this as anybody in the game. I focus on a horse that had a bit of a trip and ignore a horse that won the race. This horse got left, too.
Yeah, and it was 38-1. I think that's the other part.
Yeah.
When these young horses, you need to forget about what their odds were. She was good. She overcame a bad start. Did she get a good trip after that? Yeah, but still, she broke dead last and ran by them all, Frank.
She did a good job that day. I have a hard time seeing her do it again. She is a pretty filly, but I don't think she's winning.
Well, another look here at Mentality. Gate to wire, first time out. That was in a turf sprint. She's very quick. She's drawn inside. This turf course has been playing to speed. And today, as Paul mentioned, you win with equipment on. You got a petition to get that equipment change made, with more on these blinkers coming off and what that means for Mentality. Let's go to Maggie.
And Greg, with trainer Wesley Ward, it's almost a bigger thing when they come off, because the reason why, or one of the reasons why Wesley is so effective with his young horses, with his first-time starters, is he trains them all in blinkers. They all run first time out in blinkers unless there's some adverse reaction from the horse training with them in the morning. That's why he gets them to leave the gate so fast. That's why they're all in the front end. That's how you win baby races, because let's face it, young horses are a little more intimidated and they don't necessarily love to pass horses. So with Mentality taking the blinkers off, it's shown to me, or showing me, that she has shown Wesley that she's a mature filly, that she will relax better without them. And 2, she's a filly that was a little bit mental, if you will. She was actually scratched in the first race she was supposed to run in because she flipped on the track with Ricardo Santana. She is so much better behaved, and I love that, Greg.
Well, it's a great sign. We'll see if she can relax enough to harness that speed again to 1 1/16 as we take a look at old-fashioned style. Getting on the turf, guys, for the first time today.
And last time out, she put it together. She did not show much at all in her debut. She had much sharper speed the last time. She won easily. And my angle here, if you're looking for maybe a little exacta value, Smarty Jones pedigree on the turf on the bottom side. Smarty Jones and Smarty Jones on the dam side has been very good with turf horses under the radar. Maybe a little piece of it here. I don't think they're going to beat Orvolution today.
Frank Miramati going for a price. You're really changing things up here. I like it.
I think it's the way to play this for value purposes. You've got to try to find something underneath, because Orvolution at 320.
Sassy Sienna, the 6, is one of the only other horse. In fact, is the only other horse in this race besides Orvolution that won it 2 turns, 7.5 furlongs, but 2 turns into a grand. Perfect trip against a weak field. But Brad Cox, one of the great young names in this game.
Yeah, I think him and Brendan Welsh are 2 trainers that are really up and coming, especially with their turf runners. And his horse is getting played at 6-1.
He absolutely dominated at Indiana Grand, did Brad Cox.
But he was also 3-5 this horse first time out.
Rightfully so. Daughter of midshipman for the Zayat stables. This is a good horse. You get a race under the belt, and now you come to the stake. They almost won it with a maiden yesterday.
Nice race coming up here, Greg.
It is a tremendous race. So Mentality, the one, will be the speed to catch inside, but is Orvolution ready to take that next step and perhaps stamp herself as a contender for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf? Let's send it upstairs to the voice of the Triple Crown for the call, Larry Colmus.
Romantic Babe and Manny Franco taking their spot in the starting gate. Sassy Sienna will be the next one to load under Javier Castellano. And that will leave Wild and Ready and Julian Leparoux to take the outside stall. 3-5 on Orvolution as Wild and Ready steps up and in. And they're all in line. They're off in the PG Johnson. And off to an even beginning here. Mentality goes out to lead them early on. Old-fashioned style taken hard in hand to sit second and is guided to the inside. And then it's Wild and Ready in third. Orvolution will be fourth early, 5 lengths from the front. Then Romantic Babe in a 3-length gap back to Lifetime Citizen, racing alongside of Sassy Sienna into that turn. Mentality will lead the way early on here. Ricardo Santana Jr. and Mentality went 24.08 for the first quarter. They lead it by almost 2. Old-fashioned style second onto the backstretch. Orvolution is third. Inside of Wild and Ready, who's right alongside of her. And they're just clear of Romantic Babe and Sassy Sienna. Lifetime Citizen is 9 lengths off of front-running Mentality, who continues up the backstretch through a half mile that goes up in 49.79 seconds. So it has not been a fast pace, and Mentality is clear on the lead here by 2.5. Old-fashioned style is joined by Orvolution, and now they're second and third, and right behind this pace center, then Wild and Ready, Romantic Babe, followed by Sassy Sienna and Lifetime Citizen. Mentality all the way so far. Old-fashioned style comes up to her on the outside. Orvolution's going to wait for running room along the rail while Wild and Ready swings up 3 wide. Romantic Babe and Sassy Sienna, they're into the stretch. And there's room on the inside for Orvolution, who's squeezing through on the inside of Mentality and takes over the lead. Wild and Ready is third on the outside, but Orvolution is pulling away. A perfect trip and a perfect ride by John Velasquez. Orvolution, world's the best. Wild and Ready was second, Sassy Sienna third, Mentality fourth in 143.18.
Off this performance, Orvolution looks like she is ready for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies turf. Wow.
Yeah, this is impressive. And you know what? I have a feeling she's going to get a ton out of this effort. I'm rooting for the 7. And you know, Julian did a good job trying to bury the 3 on the rail, but when you have a beast like this, and again, running like her hair is on fire here late.
That's what she did last time. And look at her, once again, going to the left lead, but she switches back and forth. She has so much quality to her. This is a very, very exciting prospect and a beautiful day for our friends at Claiborne as Orb strikes again.
Absolutely. Orb has been terrific so far. Of course, they're running on the turf. I'm looking forward to seeing the Orbs when we stretch out in the dirt and we start running some longer races. But perfect trip or not, the best horse won. It's not even close.
Well, we just saw Johnny Velasquez biding time for that small seam to open up on the inside. But we actually kind of saw Johnny make a little bit of an early move on the back stretch to make sure that Mentality didn't get her way too much on the front end. But this filly was explosive. This was a very impressive performance.
Huge effort from Orvolution, and she absolutely lives up to that backing of 3-5 on the board here, and undefeated now on the turf. Both of those wins coming at 1 mile and 1/16.
Look at how confident she is on the way back. Ears pricked, didn't look like it took much out of her. Just really strutting her stuff.
Wow, the scary part about this, guys, is that when you look at the head-on or you look at the pan, she's flipping her ears back and forth onto her wrong lead, to her left lead. It's scary that she has improvement, I think. She's still a little green to me.
Dominant performance. And yeah, let's keep in mind, this was just her second try in the grass, her 4th start overall. I think Todd Pletcher likes what he sees. So there is plenty of room for improvement for sure. But Todd Pletcher has to start thinking bigger dreams now with this daughter of Orb. What a performance in the PG Johnson for Orvolution. We'll be back to wrap this race up in just a moment with more Saratoga Live. Of course, the 2-time champion Songbird announced earlier today, calling it a career. We'll have more on that story when we come back. Stay with us.
Grade 1 winner Lee traveled the world competing against the best of his generation. A graded stakes winner on both dirt and turf, he set a new track record in the Grade 1 Don Handicap. and retired with earnings of more than $2.3 million. With his much anticipated first foals hitting the ground this year, the sky is the limit for this promising young stallion. Lee at Claiborne Farm.
How do I see New York bred performance? Like this.
Disco.
Here's New York sire Disco Partner setting a new world record in the Jaipur.
Holy mackerel.
And they perform like multiple Grade 1 winner Mind Your Biscuits.
And he's pouring it on late.
Shown here, winning the Belmont Sprint Championship. And New York breds perform in the sales ring, where this filly sold for $750,000. Look for your registered New York performer at upcoming auctions.
Back on Saratoga Live, and one of the great things about this show, summer at Saratoga, you never know when you're going to see maybe the next superstar in the game. It could come anytime, any day, and we may have just seen the next superstar here in Orbelution, who very much has stamped herself as a contender for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf with this performance. John Velasquez, Todd Pletcher, Star Ladies Racing, team up for the win here with this Daughter of Orb. $3.50 short price, and she warranted that short price with an impressive win. For more, let's head downstairs to Maggie.
And here in the winner's circle, a very joyous winner's circle with Star Ladies and Orbelution, joined by Johnny V and Todd Pletcher. And Johnny, I'll start with you. You were just on so much best that you said, I'm going up the rail.
Well, I was planning after out there. I talked to her about it with Todd and the paddock, so I just, tried to save the best ground you can in there. And I saw the horse in front, who was getting out the whole way around. I took my chances that when he actually let go, I assuming the horse was going to get out. And once he let go down the lane and she got out a little bit, shoot it through there, and she took it right away. So I was very impressed that, when I put it into the spot, it was still small enough, but she went through it like nothing.
It was very impressive. And Johnny, thank you. Job well done.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, moving on to Todd here. And Todd, you seem as though you have a filly that you've gotten a lot of racing into her as a 2-year-old, and she's just responded with every task that you've thrown at her.
That's why I was just telling Jack Wolf. I mean, this filly, you can see her physically improving. She's getting bigger and stronger and taking her races really well. She's trained up to the race great, and we were, excited about it and glad she produced.
And mentally, she seems to be a horse that's very focused, very confident right now, too.
She is, yeah. She's. You can tell she was just thriving at the moment and coming into the race great. I thought there'd be a little more pace on, maybe a couple horses go out there and we could set in the pocket, but Johnny made a smart decision, kind of moved into a slow second quarter down the backside and put her in a good spot. And then she showed some gameness coming through a tight spot.
Obviously, you have to see how she comes out of this race, but do you think about the Miss Grillo and then jump to the Breeders' Cup Fillies turf?
I would think the Muscarilla or the Jessamine County at Keeneland would be the two options. But, yeah, we'll see how she comes out. She's got a lot of experience so far. Hopefully she keeps doing as well as she is at the moment.
Well, Todd, congratulations. Very nice one here in the PG Johnson.
Thank you.
Greg?
Maggie, thank you. Star-making performance here from Orbelution in the PG Johnson. Now perfect 2 for 2 on the turf. And she collects a stake win here at Saratoga. And we are certainly going to hear more from her down the road. We still have the nightcap to come. Race 10. We'll set it up for you quickly. 7 furlongs, 16,000, non-winners of 2 lifetime condition, and the 4 Bunyan was going to be a pretty heavy favorite in this spot. This horse comes out, and now this race is just absolutely wide open. We will talk more about it, have the post-parade coming up in just a little bit. We've been talking to you all show about the great Songbird. She had only lost once in her career before the personal incident that happened here at Saratoga, and in that defeat, maybe she gained even more fans, losing to Beholder in the Breeders' Cup Distaff. She was sensational, a 2-time champion in her career. Her connections had felt she had not been the same. Let's take a look at what's trending here in the game, and it's certainly a lot trending with this news coming out about Songbird. Fox Hill Farm, Rick Porter announcing the retirement of Songbird, the 2-time champion. Over the winter, she had some bone bruising. She was slow to heal. There's a look at the champion. Songbird officially retired. We wish her nothing but the best. Thank you for the fantastic memories. The 3 races, even though the 2 wins coming into the personal ensign were victories, Gabby, not what her connections expected of her. They sent her to Root and Riddle. Some lameness was apparent. Dr. Larry Bramlage looked at her. Ultrasounds proved that both hind suspensories were enlarged. They did some more work, and a distinct line on the bone was present. And they detected that it would be too dangerous to continue training. And even if there was given time off to her, not confident that it would resolve itself. So in the end, decided to announce her retirement today.
And doing the right thing by the horse, Greg. Those suspensory ligaments obviously behind that cannon bone. So even if you're saying even if they did give her the time, not sure if she would make a full recovery. But she went out really as a hero. Her defeat even in the Breeders' Cup Distaff against Beholder was one of the most remarkable races, even though she lost it. And the one thing that I've always admired of Songbird throughout her illustrious career is that she was such a tremendous workhorse. Everything that Jerry Hollendorfer asked her, she responded to, and she goes out with a fantastic career.
2-time champion. Before that personal ensign, she was 13 for 14 in her career. What's her legacy? How's she going to be remembered?
Oh, that's a tough one to answer, but she obviously is going to be stacked up with some of the best.
Incredible career, one of the greats that we have seen in a long, long time. The great Songbird, the 2-time champion, retired. That news coming out today from Rick Porter of Fox Hill Farm, an affiliate that was so important to him as well in helping battle cancer. And, of course, he is cancer-free. He was out here for the personal ensign to see it, but she was certainly huge in that and lifting his spirits. We have a big Grade 1 coming up this weekend. That is the Woodward. And Gunrunner, the top horse now in the NTRA Thoroughbred poll, taking over that spot from Arrogate after his back-to-back losses in the San Diego and Pacific Classic. Wins the Whitney. He did that with that lucky rabbit's foot of Cautious Giant attached to his tail, and now have to deal with a talented duo from Todd Pletcher and Neolithic and Rally Cry.
And he just keeps on getting better and better. Rally Cry, this is his performance in the Alydar.
Yeah, Rally Cry with a huge effort here. And this performance, guys, showed Todd Pletcher that, hey, we need to go after the big group here.
Todd Pletcher's got a 2-pronged attack in this race. Gunrunner is probably going to win this race, and he's arguably one of the best horses in the country. But this is a real challenge because Rally Cry's coming off the big win here at 1 1/8, and Neolithic got exactly the prep he wanted at 7 furlongs. I think they both have a chance to upset the favorite.
I don't know if they have a chance to upset him, but Rally Cry is definitely on the improve, and this horse has been highly regarded from the beginning of his career, and it's nice to see him fulfilling that potential. But Gunrunner right now is absolutely on fire. I know he's going to be such a short price, about 2 to 5 or so, but deservedly so. I mean, right now they're talking about him as as a significant favorite over Arrogate in the Breeders' Cup Classic right now.
That'll never happen. That'll never happen. That's why these polls are ridiculous. The odds will be correct. Arrogate will be favored over Gunrunner in the Breeders' Cup Classic.
Well, right now, if you went to the Win in Las Vegas, you'd lay 160 if you wanted Gunrunner, for the record.
Really?
I wish. You know what? You can lay a shorter price with me.
Okay.
I'll tell you what. This
window is open.
Way better field than Gunrunner. Gunrunner got nothing out of that last race, so he's at least facing two legit horses in here. And Neolithic, who grinded out a 7-furlong race, and Rally Cry. These are by far the two better horses that he's faced so far. Now, Gunrunner, you could say, you talk about, a lot of people are going to keep going back to Gunrunner getting run down by Arrogate. But here is Neolithic, supposed to win this race by more. But, he got a lot out of this race in a deep track that was on the outside that day.
Gunrunner is much the worst to beat in this race. I'm not suggesting otherwise. Having said that, Neolithic, did he need to win this race by 8 lengths and run a big figure? I'm guessing Todd Pletcher got exactly what he wanted out of this race. And Neolithic has run some very good races going around and around.
Cranked?
I don't believe that he was going to have trouble beating those races. Listen, he's got to improve, and I don't expect that Gunrunner's going to lose. I'm just saying I think this is going to be a much tougher race for him than the last 2 races.
I'm with you on that. By far than his last. Last race was a paid workout.
He's a nice horse. Let me tell you, he is a great horse.
I just want to know if Gabby thinks there's any chance Gunrunner loses this race, or she's going to just. I know I can count on my friend Gabby Godet to not totally chalk it up like you, Frank.
Find the exacta horse.
I'll try to get a little bit creative, obviously, in the Woodward, but it is going to be Gunrunner's race to lose. But, they bring up some good points. Neolithic, look, he's not a closer. He's not a 7/8 horse. He didn't need to win that race by a significant margin. He did what he needed to do, and now moving forward, he's going to be sitting just off the speed of Gunrunner. So, tactically, it might enhance a horse like Neolithic's chances, but Rally Cry, the way he won the Aladar, that was pretty impressive, too. So, Gunrunner faces a tougher field in the Woodward than what he did in the Whitney.
No question. This is going to be such a tougher race than what Gunrunner had to deal with last time out, especially if Rally Cry does anything what he did last time out in the Aladar. That was a monster performance. Here is Gunrunner, though. This, of course, was in the Whitney, and the Rabbit, no issue at all, except for that loose shoe hanging on his tail.
We saw the Rabbit, Cautious Giant, go out to the front end and not really succeed in what he was trying to do to try to create that separation and create a faster first half of the race. But Gunrunner, well, he was just impressive this day, and he keeps on improving.
Here's Florent Giroux, his pilot, on Gunrunner's readiness for Saturday.
He's been doing great. He's always been a very good workhorse in the morning. Always do what we ask him to do, and he's a great student. I would love to add the Woodward, to the great resume of Gunrunner. He's been a fantastic horse, and looks like he really turned the corner, from last year to this year. And I'm just hoping he just keep on winning.
Well, back-to-back wins, Grade 1s in the Stephen Foster, and then the Grade 1 Whitney here at Saratoga, and he'll try and collect another. But again, it will be a tougher test. Rally Cry so impressive in that Aladar. He'll deal with Neolithic as well from the Todd Pletcher barn. But Gunrunner looking like the Whitney didn't take anything out of him.
Absolutely not. You can see him trying to keep up with the work made inside, but Gunrunner just so fluid in the mornings. And this, he did work 5 furlongs in a minute and change on August 21st, I believe, on the training track there. But he's just looking so professional. Even the gallop out was incredibly strong here, too.
That is coming up on Saturday, Grade 1 Woodward. And right now, the top handicap horse in the country, Gunrunner, back in action. We're going to take a break. We'll be back. We have the Nightcap to come post-parade when we return.
The big day is here. You've told everybody. You've dressed the part. Your heart is pounding in your chest. Your horse is rolling down the stretch. He's coming. He's closing. He's the winner! You're a winner with Parting Glass Racing. PartingGlassRacing.com. PartingGlassRacing.wow!
Back on Saratoga Live, Nightcap coming up here as we bring our Thursday action to a close. Our show, of course, brought to you in part by champion sprinter Run Happy. So many great highlights from his career to show you. This was his grade 1 win in the Malibu. He was undefeated in sprint competition, set the stakes record right here at Saratoga, the King's Bishop, and the track record at Keeneland, winning that 2015 Breeders' Cup Sprint. There he is on the farm in Paris, Kentucky, standing for $25,000 at Claiborne. We're going to see his offspring coming soon to a track near you in 2018. Let's take a look at the field here for this Nightcap coming up. 7 furlongs, non-winners of 2 lifetime, and Delta Outlaw. Have not seen him on the racetrack since August of last year. Big drop in class, a recent gelding, and he's 9-5 on the board.
Yeah, this is either a very interesting move or a smart move for trainer George Weaver. We haven't seen him in quite some time, and he drops in class, so question marks abound, especially for your current favorite.
Here's a look at Sky 55, one of many contenders in this group, and he's taking play down to 5-1 on the board right now for Carl Domino. With more on this field, let's check in with Maggie.
And Greg will pick up with that horse right there. Sky 55 as he comes back off of a layoff here, and a horse that this is actually the first time I'm laying eyes on him, truth be told. But I like what I see here. He's a big, impressive horse as he shows up for this condition here once again. Now, he will turn back to the 7/8. As I said, he's a bigger horse. We'll see how dynamics play out, but he does appear to be sharp in here and really well muscled, and certainly has taken my attention relative to the rest of the field in here for a guy who is very good in bringing horses back off layoffs in Carl Domino. Another one coming off of a year-plus layoff is number 1, Delta Outlaw for George Weaver. Now, George Weaver is a guy whose horses generally need starts. Looking at him, I like the fact that he's back to at least 7. I really wish it was 6 here. But the front bandages are back on for this effort here. He does look fit enough for me, given the fact that he is dropping out of the A other than condition down to the 16 non-2 life. So he's a player, but can you fully rely on him? I don't know, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thanks. Our post parade here coming up momentarily as we approach the 10-minute mark to post. We're going to take a look at the Naira Bets late pick 5 follow along. $109,000 in the pool. It started with Grand Sky, Ides of Arch, Manifest Destiny, Orvolution, odds-on favorite, but a couple of big numbers there. We've talked about the incredible value of this wager all meet long. The lowest payout is to the 1 Delta Outlaw. That is $4,000 to the 1. To the 5-horse Right Ben, it is returning $5,000. It's over $10,000 to everybody else in this race, including the 12 and 13. It is the pool of $92,800. If those tickets that are alive to the 12 and 13 were played through Naira Bets, there is an extra $57,200 coming their way if one of those two happen to hit, because of that $150,000 minimum on a single winning ticket if you play through Naira Bets. Guys, that is incredible.
Well, Naira Bets late pick 5, best bet in racing.
It really is. 60,000 yesterday. You're looking at to a favorite. That's a vulnerable favorite off the long layoff, 4,000. You can get paid in here. There's many ways to go.
Yeah, this favorite is ridiculous at 9-5. And there aren't a lot of ways to go. Big field or not, there are not a lot of ways to go. But George Weaver's, it's not like he's fighting for the trainer's title and he's dropping to try to fight, win the title. This is a trainer with horrendous numbers off of layoffs.
Well, here he is, 9-5. It is a big drop in class. And a recent gelding here for George Weaver. Hasn't been on the track for over a year here. Manny Franco rides.
And he's never been in for a tag either, but that's the case here today. Last seen the 25th of August last year.
David Donk has been having a tremendous Saratoga. He trains the Orphan Miracle for Shooting Star Stable. Eric Consell rides.
And he returns to the distance where he broke his maiden, showed speed going longer last time. Maybe a little bit of improvement on the turn back.
Here's Open Bar for Abigail Adsit and Abel Iscano in the irons.
Everybody loves an open bar, and this horse might like the added distance to 7/8.
Right Ben is the 5. Should be showing speed here for trainer Mark Hennig with Rajiv Mirage.
That's exactly right. He's been forwardly placed, at least on the lead in his past 2 starts, and gets more distance today.
Hi, Brazil. Todd Pletcher, Donegal Racing, 3 Chimneys Farm, and Luis Saez.
Had absolutely no chance 2 starts ago when going berserk at the gate. Put it together with a very game victory last time out and is realistically spotted today.
It's a late rider change on the 8. It's Luis Reyes on Carry Boy for Gabriel Goodwin.
Again, similar last time out. He was an even 3rd. He'll have to step up his game just a touch.
10 was interesting. 3rd start of his career is in the Grade 3 carry back. Aberdeen way for Jenna Antonucci and Ricardo Santana Jr.
He takes a plunge, but he does have speed, and he's got a very aggressive rider who knows how to finish.
Sky 55 is the 11, Irad Ortiz Jr. for Carl Domino.
Haven't seen him since late January, but he turns back in distance, and Maggie Wolfendare reports he's sharp today.
2 horses here that are paying the pool. The 12. Undercutter, Dylan Davis, broke away from the field here in the post parade for Robert Barbera.
First time gelding, and he comes out of a race. Although he was well out of it, the first 5 horses all came back to win.
Bold Illusion, the 13, Samuel Jimenez for Richard Mativier.
He's 52 to 1 and hard to make a case for it. 1 for 18 on form.
And D. Wayne Lucas already with a couple of wins at the meet sends out Hey Listen Up with Angel Arroyo.
Well, we've always thought the world of this son of Hainesfield, and I'll tell you what, we won with a 99 to 1 shot for the Zion stable before, and we could do it with a 14 to 1 as well.
You watch our show long enough, even the coach, D. Wayne Lucas, makes an appearance. We're going to take a break in the action. We'll be back 7 minutes to post. In the nightcap here, that horse right there, the 12 Undercutter, the 13 Bold Illusion. If those tickets were played through Naira Bets, an extra $57,200 to an already $92,800 payout coming their way. How about that? The entire pool. Can they take it down? We'll find out coming up. The nightcap to come and maybe some big money payouts. We'll be back.
Visit the new Rivers Casino and Resort, the Capital Region's only destination for live table game action and where the hottest new slots are paying out millions. Sign up for Rush Rewards and play up to $500 in slots on us. Plus, we'll double any casino offer and match your tier. Rivers Casino and Resort.
You're watching Saratoga Live. Great to have you with us on this Thursday afternoon. Final week of this sensational meet here at Saratoga. And we have our nightcap coming up as we look at the 11 Sky 55. Irad Ortiz Jr. aboard. And we need to make some money here, Paul, Andy, I should say, in this final race coming up. How are you going to play it?
I'm betting the horse to win. I like this horse a lot, actually. I mean, it's hard to bet a horse off long layoffs, but as Maggie accurately said, Carl Domino is good off of layoffs. And this horse's last race, first time for Carl Domino, around 2 turns, pressed a very fast pace for those kind of horses. Did well to hold second. Carl has this one ready off the layoff. I'll take my chances.
So 4-1 on this horse. Has been off since January. Here's another horse who's coming off a layoff, a little bit longer. We have not seen him on the racetrack since August of last summer, right here at Saratoga, and about half the price of the 11 at 5-2 right now.
And really, when you look at a horse like this, you're kind of playing poker with George Weaver, whether you're betting this horse or trying to claim this horse, because the question is posed, do they want to lose this horse for $16,000, or do they want to try to make him maybe sneak away with this win and make him eligible for other races moving forward? So it is a big question. Maybe this is where he belongs. I just don't like the rail post position off this type of layoff at 7/8.
Meanwhile, what do you do with this horse here, right, Ben? He had a monster maiden claiming win that came seemingly out of nowhere at Monmouth, where, of course, Frank Miramonte calls the races. Frank, since then, he came back. He was not nearly as brilliant.
He was really, really good back in June. I will say this. Last time out, we were watching with some interest in the press box. Both myself and Rich Feldman, the Equibase man, thought that he would come back and run a good race. He had no excuse. I mean, he had an easy lead, and he just did not have it. I'm going to give him another chance going 7/8 of a mile just because of the fact that I like horses with speed that have to go a little bit further. But I cannot give you a legitimate excuse for his last performance.
Well, don't you think his win 2 races back is a bit dressed up by riding a very gold rail at Monmouth?
No, that whole gold rail at Monmouth. The rail has been good at Monmouth since before you were born.
So he was on it.
And
that's
right.
That doesn't change him being on it.
I know, but
and that's why he ran badly last time on another gold rail.
I don't know about all that. I'm not sure. I mean, I've watched Monmouth races live and in person for the last 3 years. The rail is good there. The rail is good in most places in the United States.
Well, there's a look at High Brazil. Todd Pletcher sends this horse out and put it all together, dropping from maiden special to maiden claiming. But does own a victory here at the meet. Now it's going to shorten up from 1 1/8 to 7 furlongs. Let's get Maggie's thoughts.
I was quite impressed with Luis Saez right there as he had his leg up on the pony, adjusting his socks. I wish I was that flexible, but looking at High Brazil, he did get the job done in that maiden claimer, going the 2 turns. I was dubious, given his physical kind of physique, that he'd be able to handle it. He did, but still, I'm more optimistic about him getting the 7/8 here. I know he doesn't, we'll see how things play out in front of him overall, but he was moving well here in the warm-up. Beneath Luis Saez, so that is a reason for me to give High Brazil a thumbs up here, and he's just in a logical spot coming off that maiden win. Maybe the proverbial light bulb will go off, Greg.
Now we'll see. He is 3-1 on the board, and yeah, once these horses get a taste of the winner's circle, sometimes that light bulb does come on. There is a look at long shot Carry Boy in here again. The rider change. It's Luis Reyes aboard here for Gabriel Goodwin. Has had a couple of starts here, guys, at the meet. They both came at the 16 non-winners of 2 level, and so far 2/3 in those 2 efforts.
And you get a rider switch to Luis Reyes, and Luis a bug boy, but when you get a late rider switch, you don't get the weight, Andy.
No, if you had a journeyman, if you had an apprentice name before, you would continue to keep the apprentice allowance. But when you go to a horse that's already been weighted, you're right, you lose that. But Luis Reyes can ride. I mean, Mike Leslie's a good professional rider as well. I think if you like this horse, which I don't, but if you do, I don't think you should be worried about the rider switch.
No, I wouldn't. Here's the thing. 3 races here at Saratoga, the worry. The horse needs to get out of the gate. The horse has been left twice and has had to rush up. Better break. Could be a player in here.
We'll see. He's 12-1 on the board. Our favorite, Delta Outlaw the 1. He's been favored throughout here in this race. He's not been on the racetrack for just over a year, and now the big drop in class for George Weaver. Again, the 12-13, returning the entire pool to 1 ticket. Good luck to those if they played that wager through Naira Bets. An additional $57,200 coming their way because of a single winning ticket played through Naira Bets. $150,000 minimum. Good luck to whoever remains alive. Here comes our nightcap. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of New York racing, Larry Colmus.
Undercutter and Dylan Davis coming up to the starting gate next. And the last two to load will be Bold Illusion and Hey, Listen Up. Bold Illusion coming up to the gate. Just a bit hesitant here to go in as long shot Bold Illusion. Delta Outlaw down to 9-5 on the tote board now. Breaking from the inside post. Bold Illusion. The long shot in the field still to load here. Assistant starters working on getting Bold Illusion to come up to the gate. And he's gone in now, just one left. Hey, Listen Up. Going in. They're all in line. They're off. Open bar was slow to get going. Delta Outlaw from the inside out for the lead. High Brazil's got early speed too. Alongside is Aberdeen Way, who came out running in third up the backstretch. And farther out is Sky 55, fourth early on, followed by Right Bend to the inside. Break of another two to Kerry Boy. The Orphan Miracle is next. Hey, Listen Up on the outside. And then comes Undercutter in a big gap, 6 lengths back to Open Bar, who's gone by Bold Illusion after a 22.8 first quarter. Half mile to run, Delta Outlaw to catch. Manny Franco's got him out there by 2.5 to High Brazil. Sky 55 moving up on the outside, now up into second as they make their way around the turn. Right Bend comes under pressure and retreats on the inside. Kerry Boy splits horses. Hey, Listen Up's out there 3 wide by 2. Then the Orphan Miracle. The others need to get running. They make their way toward the top of the stretch. 46.08 was the half for Delta Outlaw, who leads it by 2 over Sky 55 as they come to the top of the stretch. High Brazil cuts the corner. Hey, Listen Up is there on the outside. And then it's the Orphan Miracle and Kerry Boy. Delta Outlaw opening up a 5-length lead here. Delta Outlaw all alone out in front. Hey, Listen Up has moved into second position late. Delta Outlaw by 4 under the wire. It is Delta Outlaw to beat Hey, Listen Up, and then came the Orphan Miracle and Sky 55 in 124.67.
Delta Outlaw off the bench. First start since August 25th, the last summer here at Saratoga. Gets the win with a dropping class.
And these connections are so smart. We could see that immediately coming out of the gate, Manny Franco had a strategy. He had a mission, and that was to go to the lead and send the field on a merry chase. And we've seen George Weaver and Manny Franco take this strategy, employ that speed several times. And guys, it just keeps on working.
Yeah, the money showed. They knew this horse was going to run today, Paul.
Yeah, when you look back at the 2 horses this horse lost to, Birdtown and Loose on the Town. Loose on the Town is going to be the favorite in your stakes race tomorrow. So when a horse drops for 16, Gabby hit nail on head. Put this horse in front, class wins.
And here's the thing. George Weaver's having another outstanding season here at Saratoga. He points for this meet. This horse, yes, it's a big drop in class, but he had, what, 7 chances at the A other than level?
Yeah.
Gelded him, comes to a spot where he could win, and he aired.
I'd like to see how many claims were in for him. I would think there was a handful. 124-3 off that big of a layoff. Not bad, guys.
No, very impressive here. And, I mean, this wasn't even close in the end.
No, it wasn't. And that's where you see pace makes the race. And it's so important to just get off to a good start. When you have the real post position, you're coming off a layoff. You have to go 7/8. You don't want to get bogged down on the inside. So Manny Franco just absolutely rode this horse to perfection.
8-5 on Delta Outlaw, and he's going to be moving out of the George Weaver barn. We find out he has been claimed out of this race for that $16,000 tag. So we'll try and get you the information of where he is headed to next. But Delta Outlaw takes the Nightcap. Dwayne Lucas horse running second there. Hey, Listen Up, the 14. 1-14-2-11. George Weaver, Manny Franco, R.A. Hill Stable in the get-out race here. We'll be back with more Saratoga Live in just a minute.
Undefeated in sprint competition, Eclipse champion Run Happy captured 3 Grade 1 victories and set blistering speed records at both Keeneland and Saratoga. In the Breeders' Cup Sprint, he dominated the world's fastest runners, going 6 furlongs in a record-breaking 108 and change. The only horse nominated for 3 Eclipse Awards, Run Happy was crowned champion male sprinter, all the while racing 100% drug-free. Champion, millionaire, record breaker, Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm. Claiborne Farm's Flatter is carrying the flag for AP Indy, rewarding breeders in the sales ring and on the track. Among the nation's leading sires by Grade 1 stakes horses in 2016, this year's stars include Terrace, Upstart, Kobe's Back, Amy's Flatter, and most recently, Paola Queen, winner of the Grade 1 test stakes at Saratoga. Success on the track has led to big numbers in the auction ring as well, with yearlings this year selling up to $425,000. Flatter at Claiborne Farm.
Summer of Dreams 4 is back at Foxwoods, and we've got guaranteed millions in cash and prizes up for grabs. Sign up free for Foxwoods Rewards and earn points playing our World Series of Poker and the Big Dream Slot Tournament with Mario Lopez. Also, try our new skill-based slots. Then, use your points for summer wonders like Lobster Madness, golf at the Lake of Isles, and shop the region's only indoor Tanger outlets. Foxwoods Resort Casino, the wonder of it all. Find your wonder now at foxwoods.com.
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Use NyraBets to bet on live horse racing from around the world. Bet from anywhere, anytime using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus today. NyraBets, racing's best play. Use promo code PICK5 to get a $200 new member sign-up bonus on NyraBets.com.
Back on Saratoga Live, Delta Outlaw. Long layoff and not a problem at all. George Weaver, Manny Franco, R.A. Hill Stable. Team up for the win. Let's go to Maggie.
And joined by the connections here for horse Delta Outlaw and George Weaver and Randy Hill of R.A. Hill Stables. And George, a horse you brought back off a long layoff. You got the jump done, and he was claimed.
Yeah, you know, it's bittersweet whenever they get claimed. He's been in our barn. We had him since he was a baby. And it's just a fact of life. He's just had some trouble staying sound over time. And he's coming off a long layoff. And this is where we needed to start this year. He's a 5-year-old. And, you know, we're proud of him. And he always tries hard. And we'll take the win and hope that he, you know, does well in the future.
And Randy, looking forward to this weekend in the Saranac. You'll send out Mo Maverick as well. And a horse that's coming off a win in the Lamplighter at Monmouth. What do you think about him?
Well, I think the race came up pretty salty, a little tougher than I wanted it to come up, but I think George and I think we got a pretty good shot. I mean, he's a trying horse, you know. As I said, just coming off a stakes win, so you know, no way. It'd be best for me to close out the meet with the win in the stakes at Saratoga.
And speaking of closing out the meet, George, once again, you have a great Saratoga. Is it something that is in your mind leading up to every year at Saratoga?
Well, it just seems like the you know, the cycle of the year just falls in our favor up here. You know, you come up here and you kind of sort out your 2-year-olds and some of the older horses that you had. You know, you maybe are running a level above where they should be at Belmont. And you come up here and it's time to kind of get real and be, you know, put them where they really belong. And then on top of that, you need a lot of luck and you got to work your butt off. So that's what we do.
Being aggressive and hard work. I like it, George. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Randy, job well done here, too.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys. Nice way to close it out here at the spa.
Delta Outlaw gets it done, and we mentioned claimed out of that race and moving away from George Weaver, going to the Asif Ronan barn.
Yes, well, congratulations to both. One trainer picks up a new horse. The other one, well, he gets that $16,000 for the claim and the purse.
Pick 4 pays $644. The Naira Bets late pick 5, $4,036 the return. Not bad, Andy and Paul. Nice return again on the Naira Bets late pick 5.
It's a terrific bet. I mean, the first winner paid $8 roughly, a 3-to-1 shot, $8.10.
Yeah.
So if you multiply 4 times that 640, you're right around 2,600. You got 4,000, so you got over 50% more playing the bet. Once again, trade value.
Nothing wrong with that, right? Grand Sky end up being your favorite. You close out with a double that was less than $20, and you get 4 dimes, Frank.
There are worse situations you could be in, my friend.
All right, well, that brings another day to a close here. What are we left with here? 4 days left in this meet?
We have 4 days left in the meet, but we're going to have to let you go, huh? I just wanted to say I had the pleasure of working with you for the first time last season, and we got to do it again this season as well, and looking forward to when we pick it back up downstate in Belmont, but phenomenal job as usual.
Thank you. Loved being here. I love this entire crew. Had so much fun. Heading back to Los Angeles. Going to be covering some college football for Fox Sports 1, but I will be back at Belmont. Can't wait to see everyone then. So we're going to keep on moving on strong.
We will, and we'll miss you.
I will miss all of you guys, and I'll be watching. You can count on that. Another day in the books. We're going to be on at a special time on Friday. Well, you guys will. I'll be watching from home. 5 Eastern on Fox Sports 2 on Friday. Other networks beginning at 4 Eastern time. It was all Orvolution in the P.G. Johnson, this 2-year-old filly, daughter of Orb, sensational. Are we going to see her on Breeders' Cup weekend at Del Mar? She keeps running like that. No question. She is talented for trainer Todd Pletcher and Star Ladies Racing. John Velasquez heading up the rail. And, of course, the 2-time champion Songbird calling it a career. Hope you enjoyed the show. Take care, everyone.